by The Sound of Violence.
Valentina Shevchenko, because we had to make it about her, she came out and she was like, well, no, I could fight Weili Zhang, but I don't think she should jump the line again. She should have to do something in this division first or defend her title. And my reaction to that was like, yes, if you enter a new division, you've got to fight someone good like Priscilla Cachoeira before you get a title shot. And then, if you've won a title, you need to defend yourself in, Arabian dress in not Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. And comments are just, she's in the desert, but the comments are absolutely fucking parched.
Generation, are you excited about it all?
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast to let you know the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week, as well as we try and check out a new show. I am Pulver, and I am back yet again with my co-host on another morning recording for a Friday morning. I'm here with Chris Madaffer. What up, dude?
Absolutely hyped for this card.
It's really good.
Just that main event alone. Fucking buy it, basically, at this point.
Yeah. Or watch it. However you do.
Or just go find a way to watch it.
Yeah, go to a bar or something. A wine bar if you like. If you're nasty. And speaking of nasty, I will segue right into our Doug Stanhope. Oh, fuck, I fucked it up again. I'm wearing this shirt and I still fucked it up. The Papa Vodka presents, Doug Stanhope presents, our sponsor. I opened to start this episode something that I'm not sure I'm going to drink. Chris, have you ever tried Natural Light's Natter Days?
No, but I'm intrigued by, how many do you have to drink to have the worst hangover ever? Or if it's just like a big snowball effect and you just lose count?
So it's not that sweet. I just tried it. It's not that sweet.
So what is it, like a strawberry flavored lager? I have no idea what the fuck they would, or like a Pilsner.
It's like a shandy. It's a strawberry lemonade.
Okay.
And it's a strawberry lemonade beer, but I think it's 4.7%. So it's not like crazy light.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly not that sweet. This is actually kind of okay. The reason why I opened this is because it is hot as balls here. Out in Santee. I think it's 88 degrees and it's 10:45 a.m. So I was going to have a Bloody Mary, but I think it's just too fucking hot to deal with that. Plus, it's a spicy Ballast Point Bloody Mary. So I got this. I also have some backup beers, which I'm probably going to switch to immediately. Chris, here's a question for you. I have 2 sours. Should I drink the sour with a cool name and multiple ingredients, or should I drink the sour that's named Smackers and looks like a raspberry jam jar?
Oh, like Smuckers or whatever.
Yeah. They're both probably good. One's called Karate Chimp, and the other one is called Smackers. Do
the peanut butter and jelly one.
It's not peanut butter and jelly. Which one did you think was peanut butter and jelly?
Smackers.
Oh, the Smackers?
Right? Did you say it's like did you just mention it was like strawberry flavor or some shit?
Raspberry,
or jam?
But it's mostly
raspberry.
Just... Yeah, but there's no peanut butter, thank God.
Oh, okay. I did try pizza ports. Yeah. I know a long time ago. It's actually pretty fucking good.
Stone makes a peanut butter and jelly beer that was fucking incredible. It's really good. They changed the jelly, too. Originally it was grape, and I think they changed it to strawberry. Yeah,
usually when it comes to jelly, I'm a fan of like raspberry or like a blackberry, anything like that.
Oh, this is a raspberry. This is a raspberry sour. So you know what? I'm gonna do that one. But I need to grab a glass. So why don't you tell people the amazing beer you are drinking this morning?
Oh, I mean, it's just one of the kings of cheap beer. Good old fucking hailing from Indiana. Good old Rolling Rock Pale. I mean, you can't go wrong, man, if you're on a budget. So, I mean, it's there. I didn't buy these, but my roommate had an abundance of these, and I
Which
was like,
roommate?
you know what?
Yell at him.
Oh, it was Blake. He's the king of Rolling Rock.
Boo!
But
How do we not get Moosehead instead of Rolling Rock? It's so much better. They're the same price.
oh yeah, actually, I only think I've drank Moosehead once. I gotta get some of those again.
That was my bowling beer back in the day.
That sounds like a very good bowling beer. But anyways, yeah, I decided to drink one of these because I'm not going to drink a Russian Imperial Stout right now on an empty stomach. That's a fucking recipe for it. And it's hot. And
Yeah,
yeah.
too hot for an RIS for sure. I'm about to open this Smackers. It looks real good by the can. We'll see what it actually looks like. Drinking it out of that sweet, silly sour glass. Shouts out to, well, that is dark as shit. Shouts out to Balboa Tap House, where I think I got this.
Nice.
Ooh, that smells fresh and raspberry as fuck. I am into that.
What's the brewery again from? I can't see shit, so I don't know what it is.
Creative Creature, I guess. Out of... I have no idea where they're from. It's a Goes. Oh, they're from El Cajon. Oh, shit.
Oh, cool.
They're like... they're literally probably like 3 miles from me. I'm going to have to go there, because this is... Oh, that's good as fuck. Oh, that's really good.
Gonna have to check in on Untapped, bruh.
Oh my god. It's like tart, but... I wonder if they're using lacto in this. It's super smooth. That's really good. Definitely go check that out if you ever see this fucking weird-ass jam jar-esque sour. Anyway... Not a booze show. I try so hard to make this a booze show. I guess really all of our episodes are booze episodes, but why don't we actually go ahead and get into format, Chris, since we got to get this thing moving. Why don't you start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
So I only have one catch because pretty much I had a fuckload of skips, and then the rest of these are mentions. So my catch this week is with your boy Jack Slack, Fights Gone By.
Really good. This is actually one of my can't miss episodes. So it could really go either way. It was really good. I'm guessing it was the later one in the week, 163, previewing the 242 card.
Yeah, because I think I'll let you talk about most of it because the only notes I had were about the Wei Li Zhang fight and how accurate she was with her elbows and how dominant she was in that clinch when she tied up Andrade, who was sloppy as fuck going in.
Just went full cyborg.
Yeah, it's those looping hooks, just head fucking, just not even like chin down. It was weird. But yeah, Jack had a good point. It was initially tough to gauge how Zong was going to look based on whom she'd fought before, which is fair for the most part. But yeah, he's just saying it's very frustrating to see the potential in Andrade, only for her to get lit up so easily on the feet when she really should be, especially if you're at a championship level.
I think he said both Andrade and Easy Dos Santos made mistakes that are easily like fixable by just coaching, which I thought was an interesting point.
Yeah, remember Easy Dos Santos was super hyped up too, and he got fucking annihilated by
Jangalang.
By Jangalang.
That dude, Jangalang was like triple jabbing to get off the fence, and
that uppercut was nasty too.
I have never seen that dude fight like that. It was
it's
impressive.
Like the Chinese are energized by their home fucking crowd. Go figure, right?
Well, and not having to travel to the other side of the goddamn planet.
Yeah. And then, of course, our intro that you already heard, everyone.
Yeah,
was hilarious from that episode. Yeah. a lot of parched people out there, for sure.
So fucking funny. And the Valentina saying you need to fight in the division. Jack Slack's like, oh yeah, definitely, you need to take a hard fight like Priscilla Cachoeira and then defend your title.
Valentina, you mean like your next title fight's gonna be against like fucking Caitlin Chukagian? Sure.
I hope it is. It's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be against somebody sketchy as fuck. Just like how Andrade's next fight, they are praying for Michelle Waterson win so bad so they can give Michelle Waterson to Zhang.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I guess we should officially start saying Chinese names the right way.
I've been saying Zhang, but I don't know. Or is it?
It's backwards, so it's Zhang Weili, not Weili Zhang.
Oh yeah, because they do like last name first, right? Yeah.
They write it backwards.
That's what I mean, though. But like, it's like you're saying it the way you say it. It's like you just go by your last name first.
Yeah, that's why no one calls him Ming Yao.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, it was a really solid episode from Jack Slack. I really liked his preview also on some of the 242 card. Like his talk about Davi Hamosh's insane ADCC win with the flying armbar.
Oh shit!
And he talks a lot about how the wrestling meta has kind of grown, and he talks about some ways to possibly disengage while in that like just series that Khabib puts you in against the cage, where it's just constantly working to let you slowly get up to break you back down over and over and over again, and just working that far wrist control and stacking the legs. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to hear him kind of pontificate on what strategies could work, and I believe it was the Islam Makhachev had a fight against somebody. I forget who he pointed out that they did some interesting things to kind of push away from the cage so that Islam couldn't work that same kind of cage series that all the AKA guys really like to repeat. So I really liked his breakdowns on this. He also talks a bit about the differences between Khabib and Makhachev, which I thought was interesting because they do have very similar styles, but they have some very distinct differences as well.
Yeah, he brought up a lot of good points about that. I can't remember if he mentioned anything about Meyerbeck Taisimov, but I didn't realize that guy had visa issues.
Well, if I remember right, Taisimov is pretty directly tied to Kadyrov. I hope I'm not mixing that up, but I'm pretty positive, and that would give you hell of visa issues when I believe he is like known as like a known associate of that dude.
Yeah, it doesn't help. And then is that why Abdulmanap, Habib's father, has visa issues? Because he kind of is basically like, I mean, you can't do shit.
Everyone in that region
except bend the fucking knee, right?
Yeah.
The guy's gonna murder you.
Well, don't bend the knee too much though, or else Kadyrov's gonna call you gay and try and kill you.
Well, either way, he'll try to kill you.
Right.
But yeah, because I remember I was watching Embedded, and that kind of made me. Well, this guy naturally makes everyone cringe because that's his whole thing. But I remember Cejudo. I think he's on Embedded. He's like, "Oh, got the nice suite here." He's like, "Thanks to Ali," and then he said like, "and Akhmat." I'm like, "Oh no, dude, you fucking."
Not a good look, dog. This sour is fucking delicious, by the way.
Oh, that reminds me too. My Flair bet Friday, thanks to Reddit RMMA. So I said I have Dustin. Spoiler alert, guys, but this is kind of mostly for the Flair. We'll get into it. So basically, if Dustin wins, my opponent's Flair will be I'm Abdulmanap's visa. Ask me anything. So,
solid.
Yeah, and
solid.
And then I think if I lose, let me see what it was. If I lose, it says your Flair will be I'm RMMA's biggest Russophobic. If you don't know what that is, it means you're anti-Russian. I'm like, oh, great. I love being anti-something.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, especially since this entire card is Russian as fuck.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, that was a really solid episode from Jack Slack this week. I really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it as well.
Cool, man. I think that was episode 163 from him. So I had a couple catches this week, and they might surprise you. They might actually be skips for you. These both might actually be skips for you. My first catch this week was TSN MMA show, episode 104. I
did not listen to that, but I didn't acknowledge it. Like I didn't I didn't skip it. I just didn't.
Right, you just didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting show. Aaron Bronstetter out of TSN, but which is basically Canadian ESPN.
Yep.
Because they are the broadcast affiliates for Canada or for ESPN in Canada.
Yep.
So he's pretty directly tied. That's why he gets a lot of interviews with Dana and stuff. But Aaron asks fucking hard questions. He doesn't necessarily pursue the answers super hard, but he's not afraid to ask hard questions. He did in the he asked Dana some really hard questions about Greg Hardy and shit.
Oh,
before
cool.
Anybody was doing it a while back. And in this episode, in episode 104, the entire episode is Aaron interviewing BJ Penn.
Ooh.
And
okay.
It's real interesting. Essentially, he asks BJ to walk everyone through what happened at the club, at the Lava Bar in Hawaii, where he got knocked the fuck out. And
I saw that.
Pounded a dude.
So wait, I imagine he ground and pounded someone out, and
Other
then
way
he got
around.
knocked. Wow, so he got knocked out and
Well,
then woke back up and then decided.
He got dropped super fucking bad and was like, he wasn't out cold, but he was definitely.
Oh well, yeah,
up.
I saw that video.
Yeah, and then he got up and pummeled the dude. And BJ basically just kept saying like, "Oh, that's a guy I knew from back in the day, and he just wanted to. He was pissed at me, and he kept wanting to fight, and I was just trying to disengage. And I figured if he hit me a couple times, he'd be like, "Oh, this is stupid." But then BJ egged him on, which brilliant. It's interesting. So Aaron asks, he semi-directly asks if there's people or if there's reasons why people should be worried about him. And he asked if BJ if there's any truth to accusations by his wife. Just straight up directly asks. Wow. And BJ, it's a lot of BJ saying, "Oh, you know,
just backpedaling, right?"
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of like deflecting and making excuses. Which, to be fair, like BJ's very personable. He's always been very personable, and he sounds likable, even if he is not likable. Yeah. So it's hard sometimes to differentiate what's BJ just being super relatable or personable BJ, not relatable. But
so yeah, I can relate to him.
Yeah, it's tough. So BJ essentially says a lot of, well, so my wife or my ex-wife is pregnant and she's trying to move her and the kid and my kid to California, and I'm in all these custody things, and the lawyers are pissed about the video and all this stuff. It's interesting. I don't know how to feel about it, really. You want to believe BJ? I was a huge BJ Penn fan for decades, it feels like at this point, but good God, does he make it hard at this point. And then BJ also keeps saying that he's never the guy to start going around starting fights, which is just categorically untrue based on everything we've ever heard about him. Plus Eugene S. Robinson just straight up telling stories about BJ going up to the biggest dude in the bar and being like, "Hey, that's my seat." And then the guy moves. He's like, wow. BJ goes, "That's my seat too."
Oh no!
Shit like that, where it's like, I super believe Eugene S. Robinson.
Yeah, or like, didn't he allegedly brandish a machete like on his neighbor?
Not that long ago.
Come on.
Also, my girlfriend's mother has hung out with BJ Penn in a bar before, which is never a good sign. So I don't know. He talks about he still wants the Lentz fight and how he thought that the fight was going to happen at the end of October. He was like pretty convinced that was still going to happen.
Yeah, not according to Dana now, right?
Well, so that came out afterwards.
Yeah.
When Brett Okamoto, I believe, asked him about it. And then BJ spends the rest of the time firing shots at Ariel. Because Ariel, of course, said he doesn't want to, like, it's sad to see BJ and all this shit, and he doesn't want to see him compete anymore. And, of course, BJ just takes that time to be like, Ariel just wants to get at Dana White because he knows me and Dana White are friends, and he hates Dana White, so he's just firing shots. That kind of shit. So BJ's responses are whatever. I don't really take much of them with, I take all of them with a grain of salt and don't put much weight behind them, but I really like what Aaron Bronsetter's been doing in that he's not going to push guys. He's not going to just sit there and make it really uncomfortable and lose all access, but he will just straight up ask hard questions. Like directly, he directly asked, is there a reason why people should be worried about you? Is there any truth to the accusations about the domestic violence and everything with your wife? Those are hard fucking questions to ask that 95% of media aren't going to touch. There's probably like Ant Walker is like probably the guy. Maybe one. I mean, Mike Russell, obviously, those kinds of guys, but not dudes who necessarily are credentialed or given exclusive interviews. So it's impressive to see Aaron doing that. And
I think that's fantastic. I love all the hard, any sort of, and it's, you can't call it a hard-nosed question. It's just you're being objective as fuck.
It's a fucking very legitimate media question. In any other sport or any other avenue,
none of it is like fluff. None of it is like, curtailed or tailored to be any sort of framed question. It's just a fucking straight up question. You answer it, or
and
you don't have to answer it. Yeah, you don't have to answer.
But the media should be asking it, or else they're not doing their fucking job. So I am very high on Aaron Bronstetter for that fact. And then another show that's my other catch. Not necessarily a media member I'm very high on. However, and he did some super misty bullshit during this episode, but Ariel Helwani's MMA show, episode 61 this week. Very good episode.
Didn't he, like, mistakenly think it was Dominic Cruz's birthday?
Yes, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And Dom Cruz just kept clowning on him. This was actually at JF757 on Twitter reached out to me and was like, hey, Ariel's show was really good this week. And so I gave it a listen, and yeah, it was very solid. It wasn't, he still says some crazy shit. Like, he goes off on a tangent about how you need to respect managers in MMA. Which is a weird fucking stance for a journalist to take, especially one who's nicknamed Access Ariel. But that was weird. And he does instigate more Cejudo bullshit with Wile Zhang.
Yeah, I just saw when I was on scrolling through Instagram, they just had like a face-off, evidently. Like, what?
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But he actually does. It's a pretty solid interview. I mean, pretty solid episode. It starts off a little rough with like Ariel calling fans dumb who said the card and the fight didn't really matter that much. He just straight up calls a bunch of fans dumb, which, like, the card didn't matter. The fight mattered, but it's not. Let's not get crazy. But he just keeps referencing how if Zhang Weili can defend the belt a couple times, she'll be like Yao Ming and the face of the sport, which I think is probably pretty insane. Yes, I think she can make waves. No, I don't think China's going to be the new biggest market like everybody else seems to want to desperately cling to.
China already should have had a big market if a lot of Chinese mixed martial artists, which I'm sure there are plenty of them, but I feel like they would have already been huge in the past 10, 15 years.
Also,
like, when you think of when people think of martial arts, they stereotypically think Chinese, and I don't know if it gets to the stereotype now, but I feel like the lack of Chinese presence in MMA is because a lot of, and I'm probably incorrect on this is an assumption, but I feel like a lot of them are still kind of just really just in those traditional martial arts still. I mean, 100%. Really,
and that's
because a lot of it's part of their culture. You know, there's nothing wrong with traditional martial arts if it helps you meditate or whatever, or kind of stay in shape. But it'd be interesting to see if a lot of Chinese martial artists could like say, "Oh fuck, I should try wrestling or I should try jujitsu." You know, because I'm sure a lot
nature.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying it's just not in their nature. So, and that's where that one dude, love the guy who's going and exposing a lot of those kung fu masters.
Yeah, the guy who's banned from the country.
Yeah,
or I believe has like the most strict shit on what he's not even allowed to take like certain modes of transportation. Fucking crazy. So yeah, exactly. That there's a bunch of reasons why I don't think that'll blow up. Of course, Ariel starts pitching Watterson versus Zhang Weili because of course that's the fight everybody fucking WME or Endeavor rather is just finishing all over themselves trying to make that fight happen.
I was gonna say too, if you think about it, which fighters use traditional like martial arts? What is it? I think Tony Ferguson kind of uses Wing Chun.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Anderson Silva always used a lot of, especially later in his career with all.
I think Weili Zhang says she uses some kung fu, but not. I mean, look, she was just using Muay Thai.
And I believe she has Sandow. There's like 4 different ways to say it.
I'll say this: I think some of it could work practically, like in a
absolutely.
fight. It depends. It's just I think it's how you set it up.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Lyoto Machida, a bunch of dudes have used traditional martial arts.
Because I guess karate is like
Thompson,
probably I'd say karate is the most effective traditional martial art, right? As far as like those traditional
judo,
arts,
probably. But,
judo, yeah.
But that's just because it's grappling. But
yeah,
it's interesting. The problem is that a lot of that government is kind of protects the sanctity of the original traditional martial arts, and there's like there's not a lot of crossover between that and let's say boxing, or other like you don't. you don't see a lot of cross training, and you see a lot of talking down to people who don't just study traditional martial arts. So I don't know. And plus, let's not pretend like China loves women either. Just as a fact. So just some points.
And if you're a Muslim female in China, you'll never see the sun again. So apologies.
Right. Well, I did love at the press conference how all of the media, anytime Zhang Weili or Dana White answered a question, the media would applaud because it's China, and of course the Chinese media applauds.
I'll say this: the crowd reaction was pretty
huge.
Fucking cool. Yeah, like when she won. So.
Well, it was a wild fucking finish, too. But, yeah, it was interesting. But anyway, I'll burn through the rest of this. Paul Felder calls in, talk about Abu Dhabi. He was the first person I heard mention that the stadium is not going to be outdoors this time, which, thank God, because it's supposed to be 103 degrees on Saturday.
That's right.
So that would be a fucking death sentence, especially for a grappler, for example. Let's see. Joanne Calderwood Skypes in, talk about Abu Dhabi. And that Ariel is actually the one who mentioned that as part of the Abu Dhabi deal that they did, the 5-year deal, they're requesting multiple female fights, which was interesting. They specifically requested it. God, this beer is good. Let's see. Condit calls in, talk about the golf fight. Dom Cruz calls in, and Ariel sings happy birthday to him, even though his birthday's in March. Dom just keeps botting Henry Cejudo over and over again in the whole interview. It's really fucking funny. One thing I should bring up about the Condit interview previously. JF757, I hope I'm not fucking your username up. I always have a panic attack. Yeah, at JF757, when he brought up the Ariel stuff to me, he said he went at, he asked Condit some hard questions about retirement and whether he should actually be coming back and stuff. And I kind of agree, but one thing that Ariel's never really shied away from is asking hard questions to people he doesn't care about having access to anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you're a fighter like Carlos Condit, who you're definitely at the tail end of your career, you were never super personable as an interview anyway, kind of don't know how much Ariel really feels like he needs to cater to you to keep you as a point of contact. Whereas if it was, say, I don't know, somebody who's a bigger interview that was leaving the sport, I don't know, a Ronda Rousey or I don't have any good examples off the top of my head. I think Ariel will be much more careful in the
I guess GSP.
GSP is a great example.
Yeah.
Anybody that he definitely will want to have conversations with on air in the future because they bring numbers and they're just easy content. And I don't know Carlos Condit's one of those guys, so I think that might be why he doesn't mind leaning into him a little bit. But it's an interesting point. It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Carlos should have just pulled some corny Tony Ferguson metaphor, be like, actually, they call me sometimes, I'm a conduit. I just redirect my energy, Ariel, and I'm focused on fighting again. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of which, Tony Ferguson did also have an interview where he talks about how he loves the Tony Ferguson as the type of guy jokes.
Yeah,
great.
I think originally when they asked about that, he says they're corny, but I'm sure he's embraced them now because he's fuck it. So
he's some of them are fucking hilarious.
And shouts out to YouTube channels, the ones I always look at, MMA World, because they're so good at just kind of aggregating a bunch of Twitter quotes and Twitter feeds from fighter opinions. And same with the MMA Planet, but it's funny every time there's any sort of reference to Khabib versus Tony, the guy always puts in the background that footage of Tony dressed up in his Deadpool hoodie, on the fucking TRX bands or some shit. It cracks you up every fucking time just because how ridiculous it is.
So good. But yeah, the Tony Ferguson interview was good. Oh, also when Dom Cruz was on, he just kept saying that Henry Cejudo doesn't know who Henry Cejudo is, which was fucking... He literally murdered poor Henry Cejudo. If they actually fight, Dom Cruz is going to body him so much worse than he used to do with Faber. It's going to be bad.
How do you... By the way, I think Cejudo wins that fight, but then again...
Cejudo needs to fight Joseph fucking Benavidez.
Well, no, don't... Thank you. But it also kind of makes me think, like, if Cruz is actually healthy, which no one's technically ever really, really healthy when they fight.
Especially Cruz.
Could Cruz really out wrestle him like he? Well, I'm not gonna say like he. I'm only gonna say like he did to Mighty Mouse. But then again, that's when Mighty Mouse wasn't even having full camps. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying based on that big size discrepancy. You know what I mean? No, I don't know. It'd be an interesting fight, and like, could even Cejudo hit him?
That's the thing is, I think the football's gonna give Cejudo a little bit of trouble.
That's gonna fuck Cejudo up. It's definitely. But then again, hate him or like him, his head coach, whatever, Eric Albarkarine or something. I'm not going to call him Captain America. It's fucking stupid. Yeah. But, Eric, his coach, Eric, good camp. Clearly, look what he did to Paulo Costa's game. So, I mean, he's got a great head coach, got a solid camp. So, the guy can probably make adjustments. So, I would love to see Cejudo versus Cruz. As far as the integrity of that division, I mean, you do, like you mentioned, Cejudo fights Benavidez and then fights Sterling, I guess, or in the meantime, you could do
one of those
Sterling versus Jan. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Faber needs to stay the fuck away from that. Faber needs to retire again. I will always say that. He needs to fuck off. So, he's the king of too many title shots, him and Holly. So and I guess Frankie now too, because now that he's at 135, so that just made me realize they're probably gonna do Cruz versus Edgar. Like, why? Like, I don't.
Yeah, that would be. I don't want to see that.
But I saw a rumor that it's gonna be Sterling versus Edgar. So go fucking figure.
That would be a goddamn shit kicking. Let's see. Oh, Kevin Lee. Oh, Darren Till called in with a screaming baby, so I skipped over that segment. Let's see. Kelvin Gastelum, Kevin Lee also called in to talk about training with Faraz. And Scott Coker called in to talk about the Cyborg signing, and Ariel was super butthurt that Scott Coker and his PR team announced on Twitter right before he went on air that Cyborg signed with Bellator, and Ariel was so fucking upset about it, and he kept taking like little digs at Scott. It's very, very
it's
Ariel.
Like, bro, you already work for ESPN, you already have like the biggest possible platform. Just chill.
Yeah, for real. But Scott, some interesting things Scott said is they are looking to sign Kat Zingano, and they did sign Nick Newell.
I like that. Maybe Kat will get paid.
Yeah, hopefully. So yeah, that was my catches for this week. So you said you had a bunch of skips, right?
Yeah.
Should we give the Eugene S. Robinson style disclaimer? Just because we say to skip your show does not mean we hate you or we hate your show necessarily. But it does mean that it was not worth the time it took to listen to it, or you just talked about the same dumb talking point as a bunch of other shows.
I mean, I don't think I'd ever listened to this segment before. It was a Bloody Elbow Presents show. It was Pull No Punches with really? Shaquille, whatever his name is. I just call him Shaq. Yeah, and then Kajan Johnson, or Cajun Johnson, whatever his name is now. It was funny, but it's just all they talked about. They had Andrew Sanchez on. He just kept talking about farts and smoking a lot of weed in Canada happening. So that's a skip. And then skips are just some of the stuff I was looking through, like on MMA podcasts, and I just like see what they're going to talk about, dude. Like, I just don't care. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's just some of those. I just see what their previews. I'm like, fuck that. I don't know. There's probably 5 of them. I don't even want to try to remember which ones there were. One of them I think was Unfiltered. I used to like that show, and I like Matt Serra. I like him when he's on camera.
I don't mind Jim Norton necessarily.
Yeah, and I don't mind Jim Norton at all, but I don't know. I think their guests are just inconsistent as fuck. Like, they have some WWE weirdo, and it's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to hear about wrestling.
It's a lot of WME booked guests.
Like, this week they had, and I like this kid, they had Robbie Fox from Barstool Sports on there.
I'm very neutral about Robbie Fox.
But
he bugs the fuck out of me a lot.
It's kind of, I'm kind of in that same boat. I know he's a big MMA guy, and I don't necessarily think he's like necessarily like a bandwagon, but
I mean, he's casual as fuck though.
I mean, it is Barstool, right? Yeah, it's just kind of a bunch of fucking frat bros from Boston.
Fucking all the frat bros, brah.
Yeah, this fucking, who's their president? David Portnoy. That guy's like the biggest frat bro. Yeah.
Checks out.
Oh yeah, he's the guy who snuck into the fucking Super Bowl like a year or two ago because he was clowning on Roger Goodell, which I don't mind. Roger Goodell is a clown, but yeah, he like snuck in and then immediately got like removed like during halftime. It's like, way to go. So.
Checks out. Let's see. Do you have any other skips?
Not that I can think of right now because I don't want to remember. But yeah.
Fair enough. I actually didn't have any skips this week, mostly because the shows I listened to were the ones I found interesting. Since I didn't listen to, I don't think any shows on Monday since it was a holiday, so I just hung out and smoked cigars the whole time. Not gonna lie.
Nice.
So I actually don't have any skips. Do you have any can't miss episodes?
Not really. I mean, Submission Radio is probably like an honorable mention for a can't miss. Their preview was good. They had Sean Sheehan on there. He was kind of
I missed that one.
He was kind of clowning a lot on Frankie Edgar. So if you're a Frankie Edgar fan, you probably don't like Sean Sheehan this episode. But he was just saying,
you not like Shawnee podcasts?
He was just basically saying, I've been telling motherfuckers that Frankie needs to retire now and not get another unwarranted title shot at 135. They talk about Dustin's opponents over the past few years, saying they've mostly been strikers. So is he ready for someone like Khabib with the grappling? I mean, to be fair, no one's ever really ready for Khabib.
Yep.
Yeah, there really isn't someone else like Khabib for a Poirier to prepare against. So, I mean, he has an amazing camp at ATT. I mean, I imagine there's no way. Well, yeah, I know Mike Brown literally drilled with him, but there's no way they didn't have Colby probably help him out. There's no way. Like anyone, like a high pressure. I mean, unless Colby's doing his own thing. But
I believe he's working with the same guy Masvidal worked with in the lead up.
Okay.
I forget his name, but very high level wrestler.
But you know what I mean? No, I would want someone like Colby. They do high pressure, high cardio, right? I mean, it's not like Sambo, but
yeah, a lot of Colby's game isn't. Khabib's game is so weird because a lot of it depends on very low like ankle picks and like
that's true
weird single legs that he intends to get stuffed just so he can run you back against the cage. His game's very weird.
Oh, and by the way, that reminds me. Did you see the troubling? I don't know if it's troubling, but the unfortunate news about the Madison Square Garden main event. So apparently, it was supposed to be like we all wanted. Not Masvidal, Usman versus Colby. Like, let's do that, right? But now they're saying, oh, there's some weird things turning, and some people are saying it's on Usman's side. He's being weird, and now he doesn't want to fight Colby. So now they're like, okay, well, fuck that fight. We're gonna do like an interim title. Is it gonna be Masvidal versus Diaz? Like, so I'm sorry, Usman, you're kind of like being a salty champion. Like, dude, you talk all this shit like you're gonna annihilate Colby, but then you still don't want to fight him. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Maybe I don't know if it's on Colby's side, but it's like, come on. Like, what the fuck are we doing at this point? Like, you're not being a good champion, but it's not a good look. So I don't know if he is really Marty fake newsman, but like, dude, you really gotta, come on.
Yeah, one thing I have been hearing about that MSG card, there's rumors that Holloway and Volkanovski are gonna end up on that.
Oh, instead of 245 in December? They're gonna push it early to November.
Oh, I keep forgetting the MSG card's the November one. No, it's Kevin Lee is the one that's going to end up on that.
Okay, I would love to see that, especially
no opponent yet. But...
Wait, oh yeah, he's at welterweight now.
Yeah.
Ooh, dude, I don't want to feed him to the wolves. Him versus Ponzinibbio would be sick, but I don't know if Ponzinibbio's been training.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for sure.
I don't know. I am super high on Kevin Lee as long as he's at TriStar. I think that dude's honestly potentially a future fucking champion.
Yeah.
That dude has all the skills.
They should probably welcome him to the welterweight division the most successful way everyone gets welcomed to the welterweight division, which is through Neil Magny. Unfortunately,
yeah,
because I think that's a bad matchup for Neil Magny. Yeah. Although Neil Magny is just barely long enough and has enough cardio to maybe make that interesting, but
dude, Kevin Lee's arms are so freakishly long for being only 5'9". I still get, dude. He has the reach of a heavyweight.
He has a crazy reach.
That dude should play fucking volleyball or some shit. He's just long ass wings. What the fuck?
Cool, man. So my only can't miss for this week. Actually, I had the Fights Gone By episode 163, which was really good, which we talked about. And then my other can't miss is the Co-Main Event podcast, episode 370. Just really good.
That was a good one.
Yeah, they talk about they're actually taping it on Labor Day in Ben's basement, and they talk a lot about Andrade versus Izzy Dos Santos, or Andrade and Izzy Dos Santos losing. They talk a bit about UFC tending to put fighters on regional cards and whether it actually is what fans want. Because in the UK, a lot of fans would be like, hey, listen, it's cool that you're putting a bunch of UK talent on the card, but like also we've seen these guys in Cage Warriors 14 times. It'd be cool to see like a GSP or someone, which I always think is an interesting kind of dilemma for them. And the UFC, I think, just puts people on. Bellator is the worst at that, of just putting local talent on the card because they'll get people in the door.
Yeah.
So definitely interesting. They talk about, someone writes in with a question asking Chad and Ben to break down Ngannou versus Khabib, like it's taking place in 1994.
Yeah,
that was real good. They also talk a bit about the antitrust doc and the UFC saying that they paid Sakakibara $10 million for a non-compete during the Pride sale, which was interesting. And they are one of the few outlets. Actually, there's a couple. Them, the Hammer. Of course, all the Bloody Elbow guys are the only ones really talking about the antitrust doc, or not doc, but lawsuit. So good on them for talking about that. And one of my favorite. Well, they talk about how good the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix is, which we'll talk about a bit later. And then they mentioned that, hey, you ever wonder if at ATT Masvidal goes up to Poirier and just like, hey, so I heard you're fighting a grappler. I got an idea. Which, hilarious.
That's good,
probably not the best way to fight Khabib, but I would have said the same thing about Askren, so what do I know? But yeah, those were my can't misses.
Fuck yeah.
Cool, man. Well, did you listen to any new shows this week?
Yeah, technically, it's not really like a show, more than like a news style segment, but it was the MMA news show with Esther Lin narrating.
Yeah,
and then they kind of have. I liked it. Yeah, it's quick, it's efficient. It's like 18 minutes long.
The ads are brutal as fuck.
Yeah,
there's like 5 ads on a 20-minute show.
Yeah, so it's just basically them recapping last week's card. Apparently Junior Dos Santos is doing Dancing with the Stars in Brazil,
and it is hilarious. Go check out some of the gifs of that. It is fucking good.
Anthony Rumble Johnson announces his plan to return to the UFC in 2020 next year at heavyweight, which fuck yeah. As long as you can stay clean and at USADA pool, I am 100% down for that, because who does not want to see Rumble versus fucking Ngannou?
Yeah, as long as we can stop seeing Rumble versus women, that would be my first priority.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, or Rumble versus yoga mats.
Wow. Yoga, yeah, he had a tag team match with a woman and a yoga mat, so.
Yeah.
Don't feel good about that joke.
Yeah. What else? A-Side live chat was pretty good. There's mostly Cyborg talk. MMA Vivisection, I couldn't find their main card preview in time, so I listened to their prelims.
They were both good.
One thing they said on the prelims, they said, I think it's ironic that the UFC punishes Zubaira, but then they give him a winnable fight here with Lerone Murphy. And what's funny is when I was looking on Fantasy, it literally said he was fighting Lauren Murphy. I was like,
really?
Wait, what? I think I took a picture of it. I'll send it to you.
Fucked up.
Yeah. Wait. Yep. Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. But yeah, that's all I got, man. It was kind of a short week for me as far as the podcast listens, but I think it's just because I'm just like, honestly, just most of my substance here is going to be in the preview, because I have some. There's a lot to talk about, really, with just the main event alone.
Definitely. And to beat the week off, considering how big a fight week it is. Recommendation from @JF757 on Twitter. He recommended Mixed Molly Whoppery.
Okay.
Which have you heard of this dude?
I have not.
So you've probably seen the thumbnail for his. So he does kind of like short docu-series style segments on YouTube, where he'll just take a fighter and do like a topic. Like, for example, you've probably seen the thumbnail of Grand Theft Hype, I think it is, which is the video on Jorge Masvidal in the lead up to for the
yeah.
Ben Askren thing. So JF757 recommended that, and oh my god, this guy has the most insane New York accent. It is fucking great. He says crazy shit. He says fucking the word bulldog choke in an amazing way.
Oh man, I gotta listen to that.
He also, here's a quote. the training was in a wrestling setting, and Ben was literally in the fucking Olympics earlier that year. It's just really good. That dude's voice is hilarious.
Does he sound like Andrew Dice Clay? Because if he does,
no, he also has like a weird speech thing going on top of the New York accent. So it's just a crazy accent. I really like it. And he's very funny, too, it seems like. I'm surprised he's able to use as many of the UFC clips as he is. And just, like, segments from other people's podcasts. And he doesn't seem to be sourcing it, at least not clearly on screen. Maybe it's in the description. But interested to see how long that survives. Because he's using, like, full-on clips from fights of UFC cards. Using UFC press conferences. He's using Rogan and Schaub's clips. I'll be interested to see if he gets flagged a bunch of times. He's also using music that I don't know how he would clear. So,
okay.
It's interesting, but dude is the craziest accent ever, and I'm gonna have to check out more of his stuff. I know recently he's also done videos on the third act of Conor McGregor's career, and what was the something about Colby Covington. I haven't seen it yet, but definitely something interesting to check out because it's pretty goddamn wild. As for honorable mentions, MMA Vivisection for Bellator 226 was very solid. I really liked that one. To talk about how good the fucking tournament is that's happening on Saturday night. MMA Vivisection we talked about. UFC 242 prelims as well as the main card. They are actually going to be our clip on the break because they have a fucking hilarious bit about how Dana White booked this card. Mookie and Crookie, episode 35 was solid. They make fun of how Brendan Schaub is so bad at picking fights. They also had an interview with Phil Daru, who is the strength and conditioning coach for Dustin Poirier, which I don't know if Phil Daru reached out to every single podcast he knew of, or if ATT reached out to every single podcast they knew of, but I saw Phil Daru on, and I'm probably fucking up his name, I saw him on probably 20 podcasts this week. If not more. He's literally been doing everybody's fucking podcast. So, I don't know what to make of it. I like him, all right. It was interesting. But he was on a lot of fucking shows. And then John Nash came on to talk about the antitrust suit and some of the interesting information that came out during that. And it turns out the next hearings for that are on the 12th and 13th of September. So, in about a week or so. So, that'll be really interesting. Between rounds roundtable for UFC 242 was Jeff Sherwood, TJ DeSantis, and King Mo Lawal. They opened the episode talking about the IFL wraps. You already know I'm on board. And they talk about that's why the prelims are going to be on FX and break down that card. That one's solid. MMA Roadshow episode 232 with John Morgan, Mike Brown, and Farah Hanoun in Abu Dhabi was really solid. They talk about kind of what it's been like in Abu Dhabi that week. Mike does an interview with Dustin Poirier, and John does an interview with Kelvin Gastelum about the Till fight. Severe MMA episode 225. Shawnee Podcast tells a story about meeting Poirier in a bar. That's a really good story. I highly recommend checking it out for that alone. He also talks about Cage Warriors' return to Ireland and does a bit of a breakdown for Khabib versus Poirier with Graham. Episode 279 of Heavy Hands was real solid. Talk about Poirier's insane run and some of the ticks and tricks he's found to reset during fights, which has kind of helped him from being overwhelmed like he would get earlier in his career. Thought that was interesting. Menace and the Man, episode 45. Aljo calls in, they talk to him for a bit, and then they have a wild-ass interview with Bobby Green, where Bobby Green's just talking shit about everybody and going crazy. And then Phil Daru also comes into that. Yeah, no, it's a crazy fucking Bobby Green interview. It's crazy as shit, so definitely recommend that. A lot of talk about fighter pay being bullshit and fighters needing a union, too, which is always interesting, so. And evidently Bobby Green's coming out of retirement, too, so.
I didn't even know he's retired, to be fair, so yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. Let's see. Co-main event live chat for September 4th was real solid. They talk about why morning fight cards are pretty dope. They tell a story about K1 Maya. And they talk about if Mortal Kombat was real, which MMA fighter do you send from Earthrealm?
Okay.
Yeah, pretty solid. Beatdown, between rounds, beatdown with Shannon Knapp. I don't know. However TJ names that stuff. TJ announced a lot of big changes for his network. Between Rounds is relaunching next week. I'm guessing they're still going to be on Patreon, but they're adding a ton of new shows back. TJ also announced Julie Kedzie is going to be starting a podcast on there, which I'm super excited about. And he says Angie Hill's coming on board for some stuff, and they are going to be doing a beatdown after the bell on Friday and Saturday. But in this episode, he talks about how Shannon Knapp joins to talk about the Phoenix Rising series and how they're enjoying the format of that with the 2 1-round fights and then a 3-round fight all on the same night, which is happening tonight actually, which I'm hyped about. The MMA Nerd, episode 49. Ashley did a solid show this week, even if she did fire shots at the greatest MMA movie of all time, Fight Valley. How fucking dare you, Ashley?
How dare you?
It is quite literally the cinematic feat of our generation, and I won't hear any different. So you can catch these Ronda Rousey middle fingers, and I'm so offended. It's Fight Valley. And then Coast to Coast Combat Hour was solid. They talk about that we're going to Bellator and preview UFC 242 and Bellator 226. So that's what I had. Do you have any well-rounded ones you wanted to shout out?
Yeah. So, sorry, I've been grinning the whole time. This is, oh man, if you're a football fan, goddamn, this has been one of the most entertaining off seasons ever. I know you don't give a fuck about football, or you don't anymore, but it's all good. Anyways, I know you grew up a Chargers fan like me, and you probably hated the Raiders a lot. I still hate the Raiders, even though I don't give a fuck about the Chargers, because it's kind of still fun to hate on them. So basically, I don't know if you know who Antonio Brown is. He's probably arguably the best wide receiver in football. He was on the Steelers for the past couple of years. He basically has just become a giant prima donna ego freak, right? Blaming his quarterback, blaming his head coach, going Facebook Live in the locker room, which is a huge no-no. You can't do that. I mean, media is not even allowed in the locker room. Anyways, gets traded to the Raiders. This offseason, I mentioned before, he gets frostbite on his feet because he's an idiot in a cryo chamber. Okay. Then he goes, oh, wait, the NFL isn't letting me use my helmet I've been using for the past 9 years. I'm going to file a grievance, and I might retire. So he's just being a fucking clown, right? He just wants attention. Then he gets a new helmet and gets money for it because that's what he did. Then what happens is he gets fined $55,000 from the GM Mike Mayock of the Raiders for missing 2 mandatory practices, which is that's how it is. It's part of your contract. It's part of like the code of detrimental conduct or something like that, right?
Yeah, but it's not a game.
So then what does he do?
It's not a game.
Because his ego's so big, right? You think he couldn't get more insane? He fucking screenshot. He takes a picture of the letter he got from the GM Mike Mayock, then screen caps it, posts, even my own team hating on me, something, no more evil here. Like, it's this dude's out of his fucking mind, right? So then what happens, just 2 days ago, the head coach, the GM Mike Mayock goes, hey, that's fucking bullshit what you did. That's not right. I'm going to suspend you. And then basically, apparently what just came out is Antonio Brown was cussing at him. He called him a fucking cracker, which is hilarious.
Always a funny joke. It's like honky.
It's the funniest shit. He called him a cracker. He said, I'm going to punch you in the face. First of all, you can't threaten personnel. That's automatically a 4-game suspension, no matter what. Like, that's just how the NFL works. But then again, when it comes to suspensions in the NFL, they refuse to suspend an alleged child beater. So go figure. Way to go, Roger Goodell. That's why the NFL is a fucking circus. Anyway, so this has all transpired,
Still
right?
wouldn't allow Greg Hardy to hang out, though.
Yeah. So it's weird. Do you see how it's so inconsistent, right?
It's more consistent than the UFC, who's like, you make money, bro?
That's true.
You can fuck babies if you make money.
Yeah. Anyways, so what happens now? Antonio Brown.
I'm a little aggressive on that.
Yeah. Antonio Brown clearly fucked up, right? No, okay, so then the Raiders announced we're going to suspend his ass. I was like, yeah, I mean, I would think the guy's an idiot. Okay, John Gruden, who's the head coach, and the head coach technically has the final word over the general manager. John Gruden, who I like him as a personality. He was great on Monday Night Football, as an analyst. He's hilarious, right? As a head coach, yeah, he won the Super Bowl years ago with Tampa Bay, but that was Tony Dungy's team. I don't have to get into fucking technicalities and semantics over that. Anyways, my point is he's always kind of been spineless and just kind of goes with the flow. Guess what he announces today? after Antonio Brown has an emotional apology, a.k.a., oh, I don't want you to take away my $30 million guaranteed, which is what they're going to do because they found a way to void his contract. John Gruden now says, oh, he's playing on Monday. Like, wow, what a fucking joke of an – this is why it's just so fun still hating on – like, what a fucking joke. Like, if I'm the general manager, I just resign. Like, at that point, like, what do? Like, you literally just had your balls cut off by your head coach. Like, it's just an absolute joke. And it's fucking hilarious because it's the Raiders. Oh, and they're moving to Vegas next year to make it like what? Like, I don't know. It's just so goddamn funny. Like, I'm just fucking just have the biggest like shit-eating grin. It's just funny to me. So I know my offhanded, but yeah, if you're following any sort of NFL, or if you play fantasy football and you happen to have Antonio Brown on your team, which first of all, that's a big risk drafting that nut job. Now you're happy because now he's playing on Monday. But yeah, that's my offhanded thing. It's been very entertaining, but it also shows how gutless and spineless the Raiders are, and it's fucking hilarious. It's just a goddamn circus. So
checks out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of goddamn circuses, my well-rounded show that I'm recommending this week is a bunch of the recent Doug Stanhope podcasts. Not the one with Danny Bonaducci's wife. I don't feel like I should have to say that out loud, but that's a skip. But all the shows with Olivia Grace recently are fucking hilarious. Doug's been watching over the chick Catherine Bertine's house, or whatever place she runs, and it's just fucking great. Stanhope's been on fire lately, and it's super funny. Also, Chad Shank and Chaley and I want to say Joby have been back on recently, and it's been really fucking funny. So definitely recommend checking that out. And also, I've been listening to his audiobook of Digging Up Mother on Audible recently, which not an ad for Audible. Fuck Audible.
Yeah,
they're kind of terrible. There's a lot of reasons why Audible's.
I think the only time I'd want to use Audible is if I'm not technically not reading anymore. It's something like The Hobbit. Yeah, The Hobbit's a decent story. Well, but like the first half of the book is so fucking boring.
Right.
I would need someone to read to like. I would need to listen to that.
And Audible is good for like comedians' books because they just talk.
Yeah.
A lot of times they just take breaks and talk bullshit. Like Stanhope's, a lot of it is he'll do a chapter, and then at the end of the chapter, he'll bring on the person who he was talking about to like tell him how drunk and wrong he is. So that's real good. But yeah, it's pretty good, but kind of fuck Audible. And Chef's Night Out, the show by Vice and Munchies, has been really solid too. I think they just did a new one. I've been watching a lot of the old ones with like Eddie Wong David Chang, like from fucking forever ago. So definitely recommend that. And then Eric Wegner in the chat is asking who our picks are on the fight and why. I'm guessing he means the main event of Poirier and Khabib, which good segue, Eric Wegner. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna briefly talk. Let's see, we got a little bit of Invicta Phoenix Rising 2 talk. We're going to talk a little bit about Bellator 226. Then we're going to get into our picks for UFC 242 Khabib versus Poirier. So listen to this clip of Vivisection talking about how Dana White booked this card. And when we come back, we will be talking about all the fights that are happening over the next 24 hours. So we'll be back.
Liked by the sound of violence.
This is UFC Russia, right? Because it's all the no, it's UFC Muslim. That's right. Where instead of getting actual fighters from the Arab world, they just brought in all the Russian fighters from Eastern Europe that they've been signing. Yeah, Khabib and Islam Makhachev and Mairbek Taisimov and
yeah.
This isn't a religious degrading thing. I'm just saying,
that's just how the UFC books their events. Is we're in the Muslim part of the world. Let's get all the Muslim guys on this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, Kung Lee hosting Tough China kind of.
Yes. You're kind of that kind of person, aren't you? Yeah. Dana White just went around the entire UFC. He emailed every fighter on the roster a chain email with a like MS Paint drawing of Muhammad. Any fighter who got extremely upset, he's like, "Sorry, you're fighting in Abu Dhabi."
Liked by the sound of violence.
This is UFC Russia, right? Because it's all the no, it's UFC Muslim. That's right. Where instead of getting actual fighters from the Arab world, they just brought in all the Russian fighters from Eastern Europe that they've been signing. Yeah. Khabib and Islam Makhachev and Mairbek Taisimov and
yeah.
I'm not. This isn't a religious degrading thing. I'm just saying,
that's just how the UFC books their events. Is well, we're in the Muslim part of the world. Let's get all the Muslim guys on this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, Kung Lee hosting Tough
Yes.
China, kind of.
Yes. You're kind of that kind of person, aren't you? Yeah. Dana White just went around the entire UFC. He emailed every fighter on the roster a chain email with a MS Paint drawing of Muhammad. Any fighter who got extremely upset, he's like, "Sorry, you're fighting in Abu Dhabi."
Liked by the sound of violence.
Valentina Shevchenko, because we had to make it about her. She came out and she was like, "Well, no, I could Weili Zhang, but I don't think she's title shot." And then, if you've won a title, you need to defend it against someone on 2-fight losing streak coming up from the division below, like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Valentina just full of shit. Amazing Valentina thread gone up today. Posted picture of herself in, Arabian dress in not Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. And comments are just, she's in the desert, but the comments are absolutely fucking parched.
Generation, are you excited about it all?
this is UFC Russia, right? Because it's all the no, it's UFC Muslim. That's right. Where instead of getting actual fighters from the Arab world, they just brought in all the Russian fighters from Eastern Europe that they've been signing. Yeah. Khabib and Islam Makhachev and Mairbek Taisimov and
yeah.
This isn't a religious degrading thing. I'm just saying,
that's just
like,
how the UFC books their events. Is we're in the Muslim part of the world. Let's get all the Muslim guys on this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, Kung Lee hosting Tough China kind of.
Yes. You're kind of that kind of person, aren't you? Yeah. Dana White just went around the entire UFC. He emailed every fighter on the roster a chain email with a MS Paint drawing of Muhammad. Any fighter who got extremely upset, he's like, "Sorry, you're fighting in Abu Dhabi."
Liked by the sound of violence.
Valentina Shevchenko, because we had to make it about her. She came out and she was like, "Well, no, I could fight Weili Zhang, but I don't think she should jump the line again. She should have to do something in this division first or defend her title." And my reaction to that was like, yes, if you enter a new division, you've got to fight someone good like Priscilla Cachoeira before you get a title shot. And then, if you've won a title, you need to defend it against someone on 2-fight losing streak coming up from the division below, like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Valentina just full of shit. Amazing Valentina thread gone up today. Posted a picture of herself in, Arabian dress in not Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. And comments are just, she's in the desert, but the comments are absolutely fucking parched.
Generation, are you excited about it all?
Liked by the sound of violence.
This is UFC Russia, right? Because it's all the no, it's UFC Muslim. That's right. Where instead of getting actual fighters from the Arab world, they just brought in all the Russian fighters from Eastern Europe that they've been signing. Yeah. Khabib and Islam Makhachev and Mairbek Taisimov and
Yeah.
I'm not. This isn't a religious degrading thing. I'm just saying,
that's just how the UFC books their events. Is well, we're in the Muslim part of the world. Let's get all the Muslim guys on this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, Kung Lee hosting Tough China, kind of.
Yes. You're kind of that kind of person, aren't you? Yeah. Dana White just went around the entire UFC. He emailed every fighter on the roster a chain email with a MS Paint drawing of Muhammad. Any fighter who got extremely upset, he's like, "Sorry, you're fighting in Abu Dhabi."
Liked by the sound of violence.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are, and I'm drinking this sweet, sweet Karate Chimp beer with a great goddamn logo. Chris can't see it because I'm like John Cena over here to him, but
Yeah, let me stare closer into the camera. Maybe I can see it, right?
yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, it's from Prairie.
But yeah, we are back, everyone, to preview briefly the Invicta card, which is tonight. The Bellator card, which is I think tomorrow night. Well, I don't know about and then of course, what you've all been waiting for, UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, it's a goddamn stacked 30 plus hours of fights.
Yeah, and I know that main card is tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific, or that'd be 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. And then
early prelims start at 7 Pacific, I believe.
Yeah. Don't know if I'll be able to catch that. I
will, because I'm a degenerate. But I'm also the idiot who stayed up and watched the China card live.
You are insane.
Well, I did go through like half a bottle of whiskey, a quarter of a bottle of vodka, and a couple energy drinks. So
that sounds like a fucking heart attack.
Well, I did sleep super hard for about 12 hours afterwards. So
yeah,
worked out well. Cool, man. Well, we will go ahead and jump into this the Invicta FC Phoenix Rising Series 2, which I am super, super excited about. This is their flyweight tournament. Previously, they just did the strawweight tournament. Was it strawweight?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. I know Brianna Van Buren took it.
Yeah.
A super impressive run where she was just sprinting through girls. And what's cool about this tournament is the format is they each have a 1 round 5-minute fight, and then the quickest finish in that gets to decide their matchup for the next round, which essentially means they get to also decide the other matchup for that.
I kind of like that. That sounds interesting.
And then they have a second 1 round fight, and then they have the finals are 3 5-minute rounds, and it's really interesting. I really like the format, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. There are some stacked names on this. We're not gonna do like a full breakdown. 'Cause we just honestly don't have time to go through it all. But there are some big names on here. The two people I really have an eye on to probably take this is Milana Dudieva and Deanna Bennett. Although Liz Tracy and Miranda Maverick are definitely people to keep an eye on. There are 2 alternate bouts. Chantel Coates, blue weight, which is a bummer because I really liked her odds in this, just because she is a fucking banger and she has been flooring girls, and that is real good when you have a 1 5-minute round format and quickest finish gets to decide their next fight. So I actually liked her going into this, even though a lot of these women are very green. Like Chantel Coates is 1-1, and her opponent's 1-1. I know Kay Hansen's also in this tournament, who has had a rough out, but has also had some very rough opponents. So it'll be interesting. But Deanna Bennett versus Liz Tracy is a dope fight. Just straight up a great fight. And I think this is going to be a super fun tournament. So also fighting on the card is Alexa Connors versus Agapova, and Josie Swords versus Helen Lucero, which are also going to be The Helen Lucero fight, I did a little bit of research on Lucero. She's 0-0, but she has a pretty decent amateur career. Which that's the thing with Invicta. You see a lot of very small records, but then when you pull up their Tapology page, they have like 8 amateur fights or 10 amateur fights. So it'll be interesting to see how this card plays out, but I love the Invicta Phoenix Rising Series. I love Invicta in general. Like I've said many times, I think Shannon Knapp's the best promoter on the planet, because she is the only one that fucking cares about her athletes the way, like, Scott Coker cares about his athletes. Shannon Knapp cares about her athletes. Like, she will always do what's best for the athlete, even if it isn't best for her, and I respect the fuck out of it, so definitely going to be a fun tournament, and Deanna Bennett and Milana Dudieva are definitely names to keep an eye out in this thing. But with the format, we've seen a lot of, in the previous one, Brandon Van Buren, just with being able to go out and smoke somebody, really changed how that whole tournament played out. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of tournaments in general. I think there should be more of them. I know a lot of them, they're scheduling conflictions sometimes. I mean, can't really do it in the UFC just because there's too many faces that want. I mean, you could, but there's too many faces that want to be fed, and they're saying, no, me.
And,
yeah.
It's a pain for sure. Well, that actually is a good segue into the other tournament card that's happening this weekend, Bellator 226.
It's the featherweight, right?
Yep, it's a featherweight tournament. 2 prelim fights. There's literally 14. I think there's 14 fights on this card, maybe more. No, there's 14 prelims, I think, on this card. I think it's a 20-fight card. The fucking Bellator is insane with that shit. They've just started going full on, like, we're just going to have 12 hours full of prelims. A lot of which are just local dudes, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Some ones to keep an eye on. Unfortunately, I don't think Adrian Nahara, the homie, is fighting on this card from what I'm seeing. I think he had an injury, but I'm not positive.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's a bummer to see that because I'm a big fan of Adrian. We've talked about him on the show a couple times before. I grew up with dude and his brother back in middle school, but he trains with 10th Planet and with I know it's Team Hurricane Awesome, but I feel like they changed the name of that gym. It's Manolo and all them. I forget the name. Liz Carmouche, all them. So pretty bummed that he's not going to be on this card. But 2 of the undercard fights to keep an eye on. Amber Leibrock is fighting. She's taking on Jessica Borga. Jessica Borga is 100% what I like to call Bellator marketable. That is 100% why this fight is happening, is because she is hella Bellator marketable. Chris, go ahead and take a look at her Tapology picture.
Let's go ahead and check her out.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that way. You can go ahead and hit that.
I know, that's why I said that. I had to do it. She's clearly a draw, B.
Yeah, she's definitely a draw. You can also go ahead and click on her Instagram logo right there, and I bet
you're the one being the enabler, so we have to now, right? So let's go ahead and see what this is all about.
Can you tell why she got signed by Bellator?
Can't tell which page is hers. Oh wait, that's probably this one. I could definitely tell now.
The first picture is
sure.
Let's say it's just a lot of it's marketable. We'll say that it's Mackenzie Dern-esque. Her pictures. It's like a cross between Mackenzie Dern and I don't know. You want to say Felice Herrig or do you want to say Megan Anderson? It's one of the two.
Felice Herrig and Megan Anderson.
Yeah, just to be fair, very marketable. But Bellator gives me weird feels when they do this stuff. That's also I'm definitely taking Amber Leibrock in this. I think Amber Leibrock is way more well-rounded. She's solid ortho kickboxing, good knees. She did shell up a bit and get bombed on by Amanda Bell on the cage, but Borga is mostly just an ortho boxer who keeps her hands super low. She got stuck on the cage and doesn't ever pummel. Based on the fights I've seen of hers, lots of grabbing the head and just grabbing overhooks instead of ever trying to dig underhooks. This is probably a classic like win-win marketable Bellator fight. I got Leibrock probably TKO second, but interesting. It's something to note. Bellator does a lot of that, and I don't think they get enough shit for it. One fucking dope-ass fight is Jake Smith of the Writer and the Fighter podcast is fighting on this card.
I know, I saw him on there. That's awesome.
He's fighting Adam Piccolotti. And so I was going to do like a whole breakdown. I did tape study. We already know I'm taking Jake Smith. I got Jake Smith all day. Big Jake Smith fan. Hey, let's just put it this way. Adam Piccolotti doesn't know shit about the two Seps. You know what I'm saying? Also,
Yeah.
Adam Piccolotti did not tweet out that he ordered 2 deep dish pizzas to be flown out from Chicago after the fight. So, yeah, I'm going with Jake Smith.
I think that's a good bet.
It's a huge step up, though. But Jake's fought some really tough guys. He fought a 10th planet purple belt under Nathan Orchard. Really, really solid background and training up there with ATT Portland with guys like Austin Vanderford and Ricky Simone and everybody. I think it's definitely going to be a banger either way because Jake Smith is going to come out and throw haymakers. So I am fucking hyped, and I'm pulling hard for Jake Smith because I love that show. And then we get into the tournament, which I'm fucking hyped about, dude.
Let me see who starts it off.
Main card.
I can't tell.
Bolanos.
Okay. Daniel Carey.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Sam Cecilia. I remember him. Pedro Carvalho.
Yeah, so we're actually going to do picks on this one because these are going to be fucking cool-ass fights. So why don't you start us off on the Gaston Bolanos versus Carey fight? Because I know a lot of these dudes you don't necessarily know, but you've probably seen them fight more than you think you have.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I got to queue it up. I didn't know we were going to pick some of these.
It's all
who's this
good.
guy?
So, and you're 100% going just off of record because a lot of these guys I know you haven't seen. I know some of them you have.
I don't think I know Gaston Bolanos.
So he's been rising pretty steadily in the Bellator ranks as of late as like a young up and comer. He definitely is
Daniel Carey, I think I remember.
Really?
I don't know. I can't tell, dude, with half these people.
I was going to say, because Carey hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah.
But Carey did fight Chris Sunshine Lencioni, who you would recognize probably. He's the guy who fought, he's fought a couple guys. He's out of the same gym as Jake Smith. Chris Sunshine.
I don't know who I'd pick. I guess I'd probably pick this guy's on a win streak, so I'd probably go with Bolanos.
Smart. Yeah. I'm taking Bolanos as well. Mostly just... Bolanos throws super hard leg kicks and is an ortho counter striker. Looked pretty sharp. I was not able to find much footage of Carey. I know he's an ortho boxer and he had trouble with pressure in LFA, but I'm going Bolano TKO in the first. And by the way, this is something to keep an eye on with Bellator as to how this is why I wanted to do this with you, is by just looking at it. I want you to give picks just by looking at their records, because there's a lot of talk about how Bellator 225 had 14 finishes out of 14 fights. Sometimes on Bellator cards there's a reason why there's a lot of finishes.
Yeah, let's just say there's a lot of can openers.
Not even that, it's just very deliberate matchmaking.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, hey, we're gonna let you crack this dude open.
And it's not even. There's some very good fighters, but it's style matchups and the point they are at in their career is sometimes interesting when you see how Bellator matchmakes. Shouts out to is it Rich Chow that's the matchmaker, I think. So speaking of that exact dynamic, why don't you go to the next fight?
Yes, you got Sam Cecilia, former UFC dude. Going up against Pedro Carvalho. This guy's at SBG Ireland.
And he fights exactly like an SBG Ireland fighter.
Yeah, so I imagine, based on Sam Cecilia just has that overhand and just likes to get violent against the fence. I imagine this is set up for him to win because they need him to win probably more than Carvalho.
Really? You think they're taking Sam Cecilia at this point over an SBG Ireland dude?
I guess. I mean... Yeah, because it's not like Sam Cecilia was really ever like UFC successful. So
I mean,
yeah,
he was in moments, you know.
He was good on Tough for a second, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know really who to fucking pick. I don't really like Sam Cecilia that much. I don't think he really brings anything, honestly, besides like a really powerful like overhand. I'm not trying to disrespect his game, but I guess I would go with Carvalho. Dude, I have like no clue on this one. I don't even remember seeing Carvalho fight. Like, dude, I don't watch Bellator. Like, whenever I watch Bellator, it's like maybe like 2 or 3 fights.
And part of the
I
problem,
don't watch on the whole card. And I'd just be completely honest.
Well, and part of the problem is because we're on the West Coast and everything's taped.
Yeah, and that's why I usually don't support him because I don't even fucking see it live. So like, what's the point? I can just go like I literally will get like a fucking Twitter notification saying, "Oh, what a great win!" But I'm like, "Oh, cool." I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like a dick to Bellator, but they're not really. They'll have a good track record with that, or at least trying to hype up their fights.
Well, and I think the problem isn't as much Bellator as it is Viacom, because Viacom kind of cuts the legs out from under DAZN and Bellator. Because DAZN or DAZN, sorry, what am I saying? DAZN is a fine streaming platform. However, if you're a fucking streaming platform that streams fights and you're still tape delaying fucking fights, even though you're a streaming platform, no respect, and we gonna have words. It drives me fucking nuts. So, yeah. So I'm 100% taking Pedro Carvalho. When you watch the tape, Pedro Carvalho uses that classic. He switches stances a little bit more than you see out of a lot of SPG fighters, but classic in-out movement, long, straight southpaws, lefts, and body kicks from southpaw. He's good in scrambles. He has a solid guillotine. He does get taken down, but like I said, he's pretty good in scrambles. And Cecilia has been looking really hand and foot slow lately. And he ate I rewatched the Benitez fight with Mowgli that Sam Cecilia had a couple years back, and I think it's going to look exactly like that. Also, Sam Cecilia got hit with a bunch of left straights, a bunch of left body kicks, and got caught in a guillotine, which is basically a 1-3.
Yeah, I already saw. Yeah,
Carvalho
guillotine someone. So
yeah,
I got him.
Yeah, I'm taking Carvalho. I'm going to take Carvalho via TKO, probably first round. However, I could easily see him catching Cecilia in a guillotine if Cecilia just puts his neck right into one. So.
This next fight we have is between Emmanuel Sanchez going up against Taiwan Claxton. The way this guy spells his name, he looks like he could be a Star Wars character.
So Taiwan Claxton, you probably have seen a GIF of. He had that insane flying knee where he sprinted across the cage flying knee to dude and then like shoved him backwards mid-flying knee and dude just slammed his head off of the mat.
So you know what? I got him because he's a Star Wars guy. See clearly by the way he spells his name, and he's gonna flying Death Star someone. I don't know.
So he is fighting Emmanuel Sanchez though, who is
this guy's called the Matador though.
Yeah, and who has had a very good run. He had the win over Daniel Strauss. He had the win over Sam Cecilia.
He went to decision to one of the Pitbull guys. I always forget. I always get him confused.
That's the good Pitbull.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Patricio. That was for the belt. It was actually pretty competitive.
I gotta go with him then.
Yeah, that's also the correct pick. As far as to be fair, Taiwan Claxton is very good, and I'm very hyped on him. However, he's 5-0. He's very young in his career. Emmanuel Sanchez has a fuckload more experience, and I think for Taiwan Claxton to win this fight, he probably has to sit on top of Sanchez for the majority of this fight, because I don't think he can kickbox at range with him, and I don't think Sanchez is just going to dip into a flying knee. So I got Sanchez via decision, mostly off of his ability to scramble and then kickbox from range. But Taiwan Claxton's kind of an X factor in this tournament because he is a young dude, but he has a lot of potential. So someone to keep an eye on.
Cool, man. This next one we have is Pat Curran. I think he used to be in the UFC. If I remember that name. He's going up against. I think this dude's from Hungary. I don't know how I am with my flags.
So Adam Borics, you do know for sure.
Oh yeah, he killed Aaron Pico.
Yeah, he flying kneed Aaron Pico recently after losing a full 2 rounds, basically.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it's good to be lucky, right? You get that timing. But then again, you can't really call it luck.
Ooh, that's pretty good beer, but it's kind of hoppy.
Okay, and Pat Curran lost his last fight to AJ McKee.
Yep.
I don't know.
This is kind of a tough one. It's basically a test of where Pat Curran is at this point in his career.
I'm probably gonna bank on Borix winning. I don't know why. Not just because he beat Pico, but
it's not a bad pick.
He's a younger guy.
Been more active, yeah.
I'll just go with him.
I like that. I'm gonna take Curran, but Curran's at that point in his career where if this was anybody more experienced, I would probably lean them. But I just think Pat Curran's just tough enough to be able to grit out at least 2 of these rounds just by making it ugly and getting into a tough fight. But I don't know a ton about Borix outside of his Pico fight. I definitely have seen some of his earlier stuff. I don't think he's going to be choking out Pat Curran early, but possible. I don't know. I just don't know what to make of where Pat Curran's at in his career at this point. So I'm taking him, but with a lot of hesitancy.
Okay, this next fight, Daniel Strauss.
This next fight's dope.
Okay, Daniel Strauss has already had the trilogy with Pitbull, where he won
4.
one.
I believe he had 4.
Or 4? Oh, yeah, he had lost 3 out of 4. Let's see. He's going up against Derek Campos. Okay, he lost to the shittier Pitbull. Michael
Does have a
Shen.
win over Brandon Gertz, which is pretty impressive. And went to a split decision against Sam Cecilia that, if I remember right, I thought he won that, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lean Daniel Strauss.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on Sam Cecilia, but come on, you can't go to split decision with him.
Not at this point in
No.
his career.
No.
Although Cecilia is the type of dude to just win rounds off of forward pressure and overhands.
Yeah, that's his best attribute for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking Strauss via decision too, though. But so what we'll do, we'll get through this last one, and then I'm gonna have you pull up the odds and see how many of the favorites we've picked. So
Okay.
I would bet it's almost all of them, and I haven't looked at the odds at all. Hey, Kyle Madaffer in the chat. We love you, buddy.
Hey,
He's probably in the same building as you.
probably. Anyways, this next fight is between the best heavyweight in the world, according to fucking Scott Coker.
That's right.
Go up against I'm gonna knee you in the balls, Czech Congo.
Sure is.
My opinion, this is a very. I'm not interested in this fight at all.
Really?
No, I actually just don't care.
Just because Czech Congo?
Yeah, and Ryan, I don't know. I don't really give a shit about Ryan Bader.
Really? He's been on a pretty fucking dope run.
Oh, I know, but
He's
it's like
smoking dudes.
I know he was like a perennial top 5 light heavyweight in UFC,
Yeah.
but
Outside of
I'm happy for his success in Bellator, but it's just like no. Just the comment on Scott Coker made, it's just comedy. I know you're trying to pimp out your brand, saying he could beat. Like, no, I think Stipe. How fast would Stipe murder Bader? I'm really trying to think.
Not that fast.
Yeah, not that fast, right? Yeah, I think he murders
I think
him.
the size
But
would be a problem, especially Stipe. I don't know what to make of Stipe after his ability to hit that read mid round on the body shots for against Cormier. That was super fucking impressive.
oh, it's insane.
So, I mean, and even though it's something that everybody knew and that his camp set ahead of time, just to be able to still recognize it's there, try it, and then follow up on it is
Well,
super
even
impressive.
like love him or hate him with some of his. If you think his analysis could be kind of cynical or a little too critical, Cruz even said like in the 3rd round, he's like, if Stipe starts going to the body here, I see it kind of the tide's going his way, and then fucking next round, boom,
Well, and it's one of those reads that DC's always been vulnerable to the body because he's one of those guys who has he relies on head movement to avoid strikes. So.
Yeah, what do I make of this fight? I don't fucking know. I think Bader should murder Congo, but I just really don't know. It's Bellator. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Congo caught him with some dumb shit and he's like the champ and it's just hilarious. But I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm tempted to take Bader via DQ.
Holy fuck, Congo's 44.
Yeah.
The fuck? Yeah, no. Did you say Bader by DQ?
Yeah, just because he gets hit in the dick so many times he wins.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
feel like
I'll
that's
just go with
possible.
that too. Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
I feel like a lot of this is going to take place up against the cage, and I think Bader's going to do well enough against the cage that Congo's going to knee him in the dick. I'm going to take Bader via decision because good luck finishing a Czech Congo who wants to just clinch grapple the whole time.
Yeah.
I will also bet every one we picked is a pretty big favorite.
So which odds you want for Bader?
All the way up. So Bolanos fight, if they have it.
All right, Bolanos is a minus 714 to a plus 483.
Sanchez.
Him. Okay, he's a minus 167 to a plus 139.
Curran.
He's no. Borix is a minus 116 to a minus 103.
Strauss.
He's a minus 278 to a plus 222.
Carvalho.
Carvalho's a minus 323 to a plus 258.
And Bader.
And then Bader's a minus 400 to a plus 303.
That's my point. Is when you look at these fights and you do some tape study, or you don't do some tape study, you realize the favorites are favorites for a reason, and there's a reason why they're match made accordingly. And the Borix Curran fight is the most competitive of the two.
Shouts out to Sheamus.
Yep,
yeah.
100%. Oh, also, shouts out to Gilbert. Recently painted.
I saw that.
A fucking sweet painting of the homie Sheamus looking like Biggie and shit. So I fucking love it. Shouts out to Gilbert. You can see the link in the description. But I'm pretty fucking hyped on it. Oh god. Cool, man. Well, now that we got through that, that was one thing I was curious about, is to see if your read was going to just be the same as everyone's, which is Bellator matchmaking is kind of one-sided.
Basically, you see me just based on my expression of pure excitement and joy that I am essentially Eugene S. Robinson when it comes to calling a lot of Bellator cards.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
don't fuck care.
Yeah, don't care. Terrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
Checks out. Cool, man. Well, let's go ahead and move on to this UFC card because it is fun as shit.
Yeah, this first fight is a fucking firecracker. You got one of Africa's, just kidding, I'm not going to go there, one of South Africa's, I'd say probably promising striker in Don Magic Man Madge, go up against Francis Forestiam. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I don't care. He's a smile killer, sure. Madge, last time we saw him, he brutally fucking knocked out T. Edwards with head kick and punches in the beginning of the second round.
Yeah, he hit that fucking
about a year ago.
High kick against the cage.
Yeah, that was nuts. I like this guy. I think he was on Dana White's Contender. No. Was he? No, he wasn't. He was not. Okay.
Not, but he was on... I feel like he's been on something else, though. I know he had the win over Tay Edwards. I could have sworn... You're right. I was thinking the same thing. I wonder if he was scheduled for... No? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, now I'm confused. But his opponent, Farasiam, this is his UFC debut. He's hailing from European Beatdown promotion. Last time he fought was this year, last February, where he guillotine choked his opponent. I don't really know how to gauge his... he has a belt in his picture. He's got some sort of skill level. Clearly.
It's an ISKA kickboxing belt.
Oh, well, then this should be a really good fight because Don Madge is a kickboxer, so this should be exciting. I'm probably going to lean Don Madge, though.
Yep.
I don't know.
100%
I feel
the same way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him, but if this dude's a fucking great kickboxer, that should be pretty close.
I don't think he's a great kickboxer.
I have no clue, though. So I'm just going on the guy has a belt.
Yeah.
So, then again, that can be a fucking Campbell's suit belt.
Well,
we know.
ISKA belts are impressive, but also kickboxing is weird. Especially, I think ISKA, if I remember right, is karate.
Okay.
Kickboxing, if I remember right, I could be fucking that up. Kickboxing is a weird world that I don't completely always understand the promotion system on, and also there's no good source to learn more about it really, other than dudes like Jack Slack or Grobaka Hitman. So,
yeah, right.
Or Lucas Bourdon and guys like that. So. I'm taking Dom Madge. I'm taking him probably. I think probably TKO in the first. He hits really hard power counters and brawl. He straight brawled with Edwards early in that fight. He did get stuck on the bottom in the majority of the first round. So I think if Ziam at all can grapple and it has a top game, I think he can probably take it. I don't think he can grapple or has a top game, but I haven't seen a ton of footage on him, so. Yeah, I think power counters in the pocket and probably wins scrambles and puts him out of there early.
This next fight, the odds, excuse me.
Oh, did you have a method on that?
I'm a good decision.
Probably smart.
Fuck it. Dom Madge is minus 179 to a plus 147 of Ziam. This next fight we have is a men's welterweight bout, I believe. Middleweight bout, excuse me. Between Russian fighter Omari Akhmedov. I think I picked him up in fantasy in a flex.
Not a bad pick.
And I picked him because he's Wolverine, and I remember he doesn't die.
Schnickty schnoin.
Yeah, and he's going up against Zach Cummings, the American veteran. Last time we saw Zach Cummings, he guillotine choked out Trevin Giles. Just this past May.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think I like the Russian guy. I like Wolverine here. I think he's going to grind out a decision. But then again, I kind of look at his. He beat Tim Boach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with my fantasy pick. I'm just a grindy decision.
Yeah, I think
is what I'm thinking.
I'm leaning a very similar kind of way in that I think this definitely goes to decision. I think majority of this fight takes place in the clinch. I think this comes down to whether or not Zach Cummings can avoid the clinch or at least avoid getting stuck there for prolonged periods of time. Akhmedov is underrated, but he is pretty low volume, all things considered. Zach Cummings is higher volume, but I gotta wonder where Zach Cummings is at in his career. I'm leaning Cummings, but not with really any kind of confidence, especially like the Proceres fight is what gives me a lot of hesitancy because 100% Akhmedov's bigger than Proceres and not going to gas as hard as Proceres. And that was, I think, the two reasons why Zach Cummings was able to make that fight so close. So I'm taking Cummings, but I could easily see him getting stuck in the clinch for a lot of this.
And the odds on that, we got Omari Akhmedov is a minus 122 to a plus 102 of Zach Cummings. This next fight we have is at men's welterweight, I believe. Middleweight.
Welterweight.
Welterweight between French fighter Nordine Taleb, veteran of the Octagon, going up against Russian fighter Muslim Salikov.
Yeah, it's a cool ass fight.
Nordine Taleb I know has some good knockout power. I think he's a kickboxer.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's still at TriStar.
He's the dude who crucified Danny Roberts on the cage.
Yeah, and he also knocked out Eric Silva when Eric Silva had like that fake ass, hey, let's touch gloves, psych, and like sucker punched him.
Oh, right.
Yeah. His last time we saw Nordine Taleb getting an decision victory over Kyle Prepich. Oh, Prepelec. I thought that was an I. Oops, I didn't zoom in. Oh, yeah, Prepelec. Okay. There we go. And Muslim Salikov. Last time we saw him, he knocked out Ricky Rainey.
Yep.
UFC Box 29. It's a good name. I don't. I imagine Solikov's a fantastic grappler.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a very good kickboxer.
Okay, he's from Makhachkala, which is like right near Dagestan. That's also where Zabit is from.
Gotcha.
So they're like their neighbors and shit. You know, all those dudes are like in the same camp. I wonder if that. Wait, is Muslim at AKA?
No, looks like he's at Berkut Muhammad, and I think his pressure boxing is gonna be mad problems for Sato.
Yeah.
And the leg kicks. The leg kicks and the pressure boxing, I think is going to give Sato fucking fits in this fight.
I think so as well. The odds on this.
I think I'm taking. I'm trying to think about method. I think I'm gonna take him. Has Sato been finished? Not really on the feet in a long time. Yeah. I'm gonna take Bilal via TKO in the second.
I like that.
I just think he's gonna be able to pressure and draw out shots and then counter him fucking hard. I think that plus the leg kicks is really going to shut down Sato's offense and make him just very vulnerable. Plus the body work and the I'm just very high on Bilal, and I think this is a very bad matchup for Sato.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I have Bilal on this all the way.
Do you have
yeah, I got grindy decision.
I think that's smart.
Or dominant decision, I should say. The odds on this, Muhammad is a minus 370 to plus 287 over Sato.
Okay.
This next fight we have is a lightweight bout between Finnish fighter Teemu Packalén, going up against Moroccan fighter Otman Azaitar, the Bulldozer, who has a record of 11-0. Last time we saw Otman, this is his UFC debut. Okay.
Yep.
He was fighting at a Brave. Teemu Packalén, last time we saw him, he had a couple canceled bouts, unfortunately. Oh, shit. So he hasn't even been in the octagon since 2.5 years ago, March of 2017. That's not good. But then again, some people don't believe in ring rust. Ask Dominic Cruz and Nate Diaz. It's clearly they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's been battling injuries, too, if I remember right.
He got knocked out quickly by Mark Diakiese. He has some submissions for sure. Let's see Otman's resume here. A lot of knockouts.
Yep, early.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lean Otman.
It's not a bad pick. He's been just bum rushing dudes early.
Do you think we're going to see any sort of bias with the judges? I don't know. I'm sure they'll try their best with the.
I brought this up on Twitter. I forget which journalist I asked. I should look this up while I'm talking about it. I brought this up on Twitter last week during the China card. It should be noted that when the UFC is overseas, they act as the athletic commission. Which also means that they are the ones who get to choose the judges that are being used.
Oh, that's probably not good, because what if, UAE just wants to fucking give Dana and all them a bunch of money? Right? Not saying it's going to be some Golden Boy promotion shit, allegedly, right?
Yeah, it causes inherent conflicts of interest just by the nature of the way it's set up, you know?
Yeah.
Mark Raimondi was the one who responded, because I asked him on Twitter, since it's in China, the judges are brought over by the UFC to act as the athletic commission. Mark Raimondi confirmed, which is there was a lot of weird 10-8 scores that were not in the favor of non-Chinese fighters last weekend, which is interesting. So something to keep an eye on in this fight as well, because I like to give the benefit of the doubt, but it's an inherent conflict of interest, and it should probably be brought out. Also,
Otman by decision. Heard.
You're taking decision?
Yeah.
I'm taking Teemu via sub in the second, because I don't think Otman is a goddamn wild man, and he comes out on fire, and I think he's going to gas super hard if he doesn't get the finish early. So I'm leaning Teemu via sub second.
The odds on this. Oh, interesting. You got Otman a minus 238 to a plus 1. Whoa, they just changed as I was reading them. That was weird. Okay, never mind.
How big did it swing?
Literally, okay, so now he's a minus 213 to a plus 173.
That's a pretty big swing.
Wow, I've never seen that happen. That's
evidently
actually pretty
someone was listening to the podcast as they were making bets.
Okay, interesting.
Also, Chris, I gotta ask you, what the fuck does Memphis Reigns mean?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Kyle put it in chat. I don't know what it means.
Oh, it's a joke. Gone in 60 Seconds. That's
oh,
Nicolas Cage's
God damn
name.
it. Yeah,
And
okay.
there's this video. There's that video, Cinema Sins, where they it's like it's a parody. It's an account that basically makes fun of either shitty movies, right? But when they make fun of good movies, it's like that nerd who always has to complain about just the littlest fucking bullshit that's just so contrived in films.
Hilarious.
But the point is, every time he's like, "Oh, how cool of a Hollywood name is Memphis Reigns?" You know, like every local gangster knows who. "Ooh, let's be afraid of Memphis Reigns." Like that's just to scare you.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. So cue Donnie, play Lowrider, right?
Let's go. Oh
yeah.
You can't see my
just
camera,
like,
but I did the class. Yeah.
All right, let's ride.
You
Yeah,
got it.
easily the best scene in the movie and one of Nicolas Cage's best moments. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Boom, boom,
Uh,
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, actually, shouts out. That's actually an amazing walkout song for anyone who's out there doing an MMA fighter. Do it.
Especially if you're in California.
Yes. So, this next fight, I was mistaken. I think I fell into the trap of a joke on Reddit. But it kind of is a good point, though, because I could have seen this being a real thing. I was under the impression that there was no female fighters fighting on this card. I know it's probably a little insensitive to say based on...
There's actually 4 of them on this card.
Yeah, so maybe I just shouldn't go there. So never mind. I'll say it as respectfully as I can. Due to the culture in the UAE, I felt like there wouldn't be any female fighters on this card. That's all I'm going to go with that.
Right.
That's how I will put it that way, as respectfully as I can.
I'll say I was surprised to hear they specifically requested female fighters to be on the card.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this is an interesting fight. You got Sarah Cheesecake Morris, you know, because you have to say it that way, right?
It's
the
hard
Canadian.
not to.
Yeah. She's going up against, I believe she's from Georgia, if I remember that flag correctly.
Georgia.
Not the state of Georgia, but the country. Liana Jojua. That's probably definitely wrong.
Yeah, sure, something like that.
Yeah, Liana. Anyways, it's Liana's UFC debut.
Also, we can go ahead and say hashtag marketable.
Hashtag very marketable.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bantamweight bout. She has a record of 7 wins, 2 losses. Sarah Morris, she has a record of 5 wins, 5 losses. Last time I saw her, she got murderized by Macy Sasson, but Macy Sasson looks like a problem at 145.
And is way too big for Sarah Morris.
But granted, what is 145 anymore? So that's a thing. Yeah, Morris is on a 3-fight skid.
This fight does not take place at 135.
Is it a flyweight then?
Well, only
or kind of.
It's a featherweight fight, but only because Sarah Morris blew weight by a couple pounds.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know where to go with this. You're on a 3-fight skid. You've fought some decent competition, and I don't know anything about. She's making her UFC debut. I'll probably just go with Morris by decision.
Smart.
I don't. No clue.
Yeah.
I'm not coin flipping or anything. I don't have time for that. That's just like, yeah. And that's not really a coin flip fight anyway.
Yeah. I've got Morris via sub in the second.
Okay.
Morris is very good at getting the back. And since she blew weight, I think that's going to do nothing but help her takedowns, like her body lock trip takedowns. And Liana, from the little bit of footage I saw of her, it gets real desperate on the stand-up attempts. A lot of just trying to kick off and then turn your back and stand up, which is a great way to get RNC'd by Sarah Moraz. So I think Sarah Moraz RNC in the second, probably off of a failed stand-up attempt by Liana.
I like that call.
Liana could potshot her from the outside, but I think especially with the weight miss, I think the grappling is going to be a problem for her.
The odds on this, Liana is a -159 slight favorite over a +132 of Sarah Morris.
I'm surprised by some of these fucking odds, man. And I really wonder how much of that is people betting on judges being sketchy.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like a possibility in this card.
This next fight, initially, according to Magwar, I thought Zubaira Takugov, Zubaira, fuck it, that's his name, was going up against Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy, not the female fighter, but it's actually Lerone Murphy.
You said you actually got you have a screen.
I sent it to you.
Right?
Check your fucking. I texted you. It's hilarious.
My phone's off. So.
Okay, it's fucking hilarious though. I was like so confused. I'm like, So do I pick Lauren Murphy and I get the win via DQ? What's going on?
I guess Kyle's taking She-Wolf. I don't know who She-Wolf is. Is that her nickname? Nope. Did he just make up She-Wolf?
Kyle, how lit are you right now?
Dude,
that's what
I
I
bet
want to know.
Kyle's smoking that good.
Yeah, I know he has that good. All right, so Zubaira, if for those who've been living under a rock, this guy was suspended by USADA for 2 years, a couple years ago. Then Khabib jumps the fence, attacks Dylan Dennis, which I totally understand. That guy's an idiot. And then Zubaira's like, hey, let me go attack Connor and just assault him in the octagon. And then I don't even think he got suspended because then Khabib's like, oh, if you suspend Zubaira, I quit. And they're like, all right, fuck it, Zubaira, you're good. So, yeah, this guy is a lucky motherfucker. He probably should have been suspended for a long time. But the UFC likes him. He has a very punchable face, and I say that in the most respectful way possible because he could end my life. I just had to put that out there. Last time we saw Zubaira, holy fuck. Okay, yeah, so there's that USADA suspension I just mentioned. It was May of 2016, where he lost a split decision to Renato Moicano.
Focus on this camera sucks.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to fight fucking Artem Lobov.
Oh, well, that would have been competitive.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it'll happen in bare knuckle boxing here.
And then English fighter Lerone Murphy, not Lauren Murphy, it's his UFC debut, and he's probably going to get murdered by Zubaira.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
About right.
Yeah. So, like I said, Zubaira is clearly in the good graces of the UFC brass. He's protected by Khabib. And probably Ali.
Definitely the second one.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zubaira, I think it goes to decision. The other guy has a couple knockouts, so he's probably pretty fucking tough on the feet.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good segue. Yeah, I'm going... I'm going to Zubaira probably via decision. I just think Zub's is going to get it done by stuffing takedowns and pot-shotting with the straight rights and left hooks basically over and over again. I don't know if he'll put him out, but I just think he pot-shots from distance and stuffs takedowns.
Yeah. The odds on this... Zubaira is a minus 333 favorite to a plus 262. Lerone Murphy.
Yeah. What was the method you had again on that?
I got decision.
Yeah.
For Zubaira.
Me too. And actually, before you start the next one, I am going to open up a beer I'm very excited about. So, Society Brewing, we talked a little bit ago, that they had changed one of the head brewers that was there left.
Yep.
Kind of changed how they're doing stuff.
I know they're canning now, which is that was against their philosophy, but I remember that article.
They sure are, and Mr. Chris Medaffer, and that's why I'm drinking Society Brewing and Beechwood's Defender of the Hops.
Ooh, I saw that on their Instagram page.
Yeah, I have not had this. West Coast style IPA is like heavy metal music. It never goes out of style. Beechwood Brewing and Society join forces for an aromatic hop song that goes to 11.
That's music to my fucking ears, so...
Oh, I see what you did there, bro. You must be a writer.
I just love heavy metal.
Oh, that's really good.
So yeah, I'm sure I gotta stop by Jimbo's or something. Maybe I'll have some tomorrow for the CAD.
Yeah, I bet you either Jimbo's or Par has it for sure. That's really good. It's somewhere between the Pupil and Citradelic. If you've had the Citradelic from Beechwood and the Pupil from Society, it's kind of like right in between those two. I really like it.
I don't recall ever trying any beer from Beechwood, but Society is always one of my favorites.
Beechwood's very good. They have a brewery up in, or they have I guess it is a brewery, the one they have in, is it Long Beach? Maybe? Oceanside? I think it's in Oceanside. Something like that. They have a couple up the coast, but They also have their blendery too, which has been doing dope things, but that's a really good beer. Anyway,
this next fight is a women's
super
fly.
excited about this.
Yeah,
fight.
this is a good fight. It's a women's flyweight bout between Scottish fighter Jojo Calderwood, record of 13-4, going up against Andrea. You blocked us on Twitter, Lee, who has a record of 11 wins, 2 losses, and that is her That's her nickname.
Yeah, we got blocked for fucking asking why she's cool with her husband being a Nazi.
And
it wasn't even that mean.
And he really murdered someone.
I should clarify. Yeah, he literally murdered a black man and went to jail for it. And literally has swastika tattoos. But what we said wasn't even that mean. She just tweeted out, I don't know why people make such a big deal out of it. And we tweeted back, we also don't understand why you don't understand. And we got blocked. So.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like we ended up on the right side of that. I feel like history proved us right on that one.
I would tend to agree with that 100%.
Also, who knows if it was dude that blocked us?
Yeah, it was probably her ex-Nazi husband took over account and was like, fuck these guys.
Let's not focus on that piece of trash, and let's focus on how Andrea Lee is a great fucking fighter, and this fight against Joanne Calderwood is absolutely dope. This is gonna be a super dope scrap.
This comes down to the clinch.
100%.
Joanne's a good Muay Thai
100%.
fighter. Lee has shown good Muay Thai. I think this goes to the decision, and I think it goes back and forth. But I am tending to lean Andrea Lee on this one.
Me too. I think 100% this comes down to, can JoJo Calderwood consistently win clinch positions and not gas?
Yeah, and I'm going with Lee based on how she was able to transition and negate a lot of those submission attempts from Montana De La Rosa, who's a savvy BJJ fighter.
Yeah, and she even got stuck in some bad positions and worked her way out of it. Andrea Lee is very underrated. Her ground game is, I feel like we're going to see Andrea Lee kind of come out of her shell and really make some big statements here in the next couple fights. And I think this might be a big coming out party for her, because I think that, number one, this is a good matchup. Number two, I think she probably gets the clinch and slams a bunch of knees into JoJo's body. Because I think she's just going to be able to muscle JoJo around in the clinch pretty easily. She's super strong, and JoJo is not the strongest 25er. This is a 25, right?
What's up?
This is a 25, right?
This is a 25, yeah.
So I'm definitely leaning KGB Lee. I'm actually leaning TKO in the second. I was going to lean decision, but I just think JoJo, when she starts having trouble in the clinch, I think she's going to try harder for takedowns, and I think that's going to make it rougher on her. I do think she probably does get on top of Andrea at some point, but Andrea has a very good ground game, and she's good at working back to her feet and just causing scrambles in general. She also does play a bit of rubber guard and does work a really good high guard game off her back. So I'm going to take Andrea probably via TKO, like just volume in the clinch, and kind of putting it on JoJo as JoJo starts fading, because I think for sure she wins the last 2 rounds, because I don't think JoJo's going to be able to keep a pace over the time.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
The odds on that.
Also,
and I have
Kyle Madaffer, since you're in chat, go ahead and look up who Andrea KGB Lee is, and you'd be happy about that one.
Let's just say she has some assets that you would like.
Yeah,
anyways,
he's taking Calderwood by decision. How dare you, sir? To be fair, Kyle's, I'm pretty sure, just picking everyone we're not picking. So.
Yeah, it's because we disrespected his boy, Memphis Reigns.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We took shots at Nick Cage, Nick Cage. Big difference.
No, Nicholas Coppola. You know, he's the Italian that he doesn't want you to know about. It's oh no, my uncle is not Francis Ford Coppola, who definitely did not direct Godfather 1 and 2.
Oh no, it's definitely I know him. He's Gumby, or he's Pokey, and Peggy Sue Got Married. I know.
Yeah, or he had that really good role in Raising Arizona. If you're a Coen Brothers fan, great director.
Greatest Nicolas Cage film of all time is definitely Leaving Las Vegas.
Yes.
As a drunk, I gotta love that movie. It's so.
It's like when he's a drunk degenerate gambler, but degenerate's interchangeable with degenerate drunk, right?
Well,
that's how that works.
Literally, the scene in that movie where he decides.
Doesn't he like chug underwater?
No, he chugs in the shower.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the whole plot of that movie is he's gonna try and kill himself with by
booze.
drinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the greatest scene ever though is him walking through the liquor store and just dunking bottles into a cart. It's
I
one of the
remember that.
greatest scenes. It's so good.
It's good, but it's not good.
Well, I mean, it's a great scene. Not a great lifestyle necessarily.
No.
Well,
I'll just say this: it hits home in some of my family with alcoholism and what's happened in the past couple years. So, yeah, but still a great movie. And Nicolas Cage has had his good moments. Anyways, didn't mean to get personal there. The odds.
Kyle Madaffer has a hot take on this Calderwood versus KGB Lee fight.
Oh,
says,
please do share before I give the odds.
It is, I would almost argue, Skip-esque. He says, Calderwood's got leg reach and watch her sweep.
What? Ask Kyle, is he going to sumo the guy?
No, yeah, she's definitely going to. Well, first off, we all know JoJo Calderwood is a 200-pound sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
So, 100%.
Yeah, Kyle or Shannon, Joanne's going to go in there and sumo Andrea Lee and ground and pound the Nazi out of her. Yeah. So,
Jesus.
Anyways, well, it doesn't matter because KGB Lee doesn't even know where we are anymore, so she's never going to see this or hear this. We're blocked, remember? Anyways, Lee is a minus 238 favorite over plus 192 of JoJo. This next fight
Sounds
is
about right, odds-wise.
interesting because you get Meyerbeck Taisimov, who has visa issues. I don't know if you saw his interview on MMA Fighting, but it's very culturally, his cultural attire is appropriate, but it also triggers so many people in the comments, which is very entertaining to read because I am a piece of shit. Anyways, that's what's said. If you're curious, just go look at MMA Fighting's Instagram page and you'll see a very fun interview with Meyerbeck Taisimov. It's pretty great. Anyways, that's not the point. He's going up against Brazilian fighter Diego Ferreira. There's a record of 15-2. Last time we saw Ferreira, he won a decision against fellow Russian fighter Rustam Khabilov last February. Meyerbeck Taisimov, I know, is a badass motherfucker. Last time we saw him, he won a decision over Desmond Green a year ago, September 15th, 2018. I'll say this, spoiler alert, Meyerbeck Taisimov is 100% winning this fight if it goes to a decision. Calling it right now.
Yeah.
Because they'll put him on a platform saying, give me my visa, let me fight. I'm just telling you right now, this is going to be politics if it goes decision.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be that guy,
it's
but
kind of a good fucking point, dude. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Man.
And he's also a Chechen. Oh, so by the way, fuck Meyerbeck Taisimov. Just realized that.
Why?
Because he's with Akhmat and he's like homies with
Is he with
Gadirov.
Akhmat?
I'm pretty fucking sure.
I know he's with Tiger Muay Thai.
Wait, hold on. Let me recant that statement because I probably should honestly fact check that. It just says, yeah, so never mind.
Well, I do think he is.
But since when have we ever been objective?
Well, that's a very decent argument.
Yeah, we're basically a fucking comedy show at this point, right? There's all these hot takes and digs.
Yeah, Meyerbeck Taisimov was with Akhmat. You're right. So,
there we go. Okay, yeah, fuck you, Meyerbeck Taisimov, you piece of shit.
Definitely don't murder us.
Hey, no, luckily you don't have a visa, so fuck you again.
Great point. We're not going to Chechnya anytime soon.
Yeah.
And if we did, we'd definitely get called gay and put out.
See, I would want to identify as gay, but then wait, they would throw me in prison, so why? Even if, no, there's no point. I don't want to be in Chechen
they're
prison.
Not throwing people in prison for being gay. The last time I heard,
so the
they were
fact,
sticking
point taken,
stun
I don't want
guns
to
up
die.
Asses. last thing I heard.
I don't want to die. So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So. Man.
Watch all of a sudden, for some odd reason, we get a tweet. Who is this son of violence?
Right. This is Ali telling us to go fuck ourselves.
Yeah, I show you sound of violence.
You can tell Ali has never heard our show because we're not blocked by Ali yet. Yeah. So, God damn it, I'm taking Diego Ferreira by decision, but you've now made me 100% question this. Diego Ferreira is out of Fortis MMA. He looks really fucking good. He is really
camp.
slick. He works well behind a long jab and straight. He pushes a pace. I just think he's going to land more volume and avoid getting stuck on bottom. But yeah, I could absolutely see him getting robbed in a decision that he.
Oh, it's happening. 100%.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna stick with
on the
Diego,
odds,
but...
you're gonna like these odds real quick. We got a minus 303 for Mr. Tysomov over plus 242 of Fajeda.
Tysomov's also coming off a suspension too, isn't he?
I believe so.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, yeah, take that as you will. This next fight we have is probably going to be one of the most lopsided fights. Should be.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
We got Curtis Razorblades, record of 11-2. Going up against Shamil, and I read his nickname as Arbok, like the Pokemon, so that's his new nickname for me because I couldn't read that. So he's now known as Arbok, Pokemon. Shamil Arbok Abdurakhimov, a.k.a. the guy where Derek Lewis was like, who the fuck is that? When he fought him. I always remember that interview was pretty funny.
Right. And he's also the guy who was beating up Derek Lewis up until Derek Lewis decided he didn't want to get beat up anymore, and then just
and he rolled over and
ground him out.
Yeah, I remember. I think he was on Ariel's show, and he was like, "Ariel, I'm fighting a guy. I don't even know how the fuck to say his last name."
Yeah.
And I think that's while he's wearing a MAGA hat, which made it funnier.
Checks out.
I just realized too. I wonder if Derek's met Colby. No.
I gotta imagine they don't have a lot of common.
Oh no, definitely not. Besides the MAGA hat, but anyways, that doesn't matter. Curtis Blades. Last time we saw him, he had a win over Justin Big Titty Willis, who evidently threatened Curtis outside of his hotel with one of his boys, who was way smaller than Curtis. So I don't know how that's intimidating. And Justin Willis got cut, right? Or was that false? He did get cut, yeah. Before that, he lost against Francis Ngannou quicker this time, more quickly in the first round instead of the first time he had fought Francis. Shamil Arbok, last time we saw him, killed Marcin Tybura at the middle of the second round via punches. Last 420 of this year. Blaze it, bro. Yeah, I like Curtis Blades in this 100%. His top control is really fucking good. At least it was against Alistair Overeem.
Yep.
If Derek Lewis can roll over on Arbok, I don't see why Blades can't. I think he's going to crack his head open like a fucking coconut. And it's going to be bad.
Yeah, I think that is. What round did you have on that?
I'm going to go round 1. Why not?
Wow.
I think it's fucking fireworks on this card.
Yeah, it's definitely Yeah, we do have a lot of decisions. Well, we have a decent amount of subs and TKOs, but you have all decisions up until that.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm not taking risks.
Well, to be fair, the heat alone, that could be a factor depending on what the stadium actually looks like. I think I'm going to take Blades via decision. The one thing I'm curious about is whether Blades actually works for takedowns in this, or if he just pot shots from the outside and works him over in the clinch on the cage. Because I think a lot of this fight is probably going to be Curtis Blades putting Shamil's back on the cage and just kind of pummeling him. Which, man, that is the exact kind of pace in rough weather that could be really a long goddamn night. But yeah, I'm leaning Blades via decision, but I would not be surprised if he, especially if Shamil really tries to get aggressive, I can definitely see Blades getting him out of there, especially with ground and pound.
Well, I told you this is one of the most lopsided fights, maybe. I mean, in my opinion, it is, but
even Kyle's taking Curtis, so you know this shit is fucking one-sided.
Kyle's like, Curtis Blades sounds like Memphis Reigns. Curtis
Blades does sound like a sidekick of Nick Cage in a movie.
Yeah. Curtis Blades is a minus 500 to a plus 367 of Arbok. So take that as you will. Next up, we have one of Khabib's teammates, Islam Makhachev, fighting out of AKA. Record of 17 wins, 1 loss. Going up against Brazilian fighter Davi Ramos, the Tasmanian Devil. record of 10 wins, 2 losses.
This is a
Islam,
fun fight.
yeah. Islam Makhachev, last time we saw him, he defeated Arman Sarukian, who looked very fucking good in his last fight. Arman, that is. Well, and so did, obviously, Islam. And Davi Ramos, last time we saw him was May of earlier this year. He defeated Austin Hubbard via unanimous decision, or that he kind of went on a streak of rear naked RNCing people.
Yep.
I like Islam in this via decision.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Strength of schedule alone.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Davi Ramos is an insane grappler. He also was not able to put away Austin Hubbard and got grappled for a lot of that fight.
And like the Dagestanis and Russians say, if jiu-jitsu is easy, it'd be called, or sambo is easy, it'd be called jiu-jitsu, right? So take that as
and when your wins are John Gunther, Nick Heinen 2018, and Chris Grutzmacher.
Wasn't John Gunther the mustache dude on like Team Stipe?
Tough, yep.
Yeah.
The guy who literally lives in his van and shaves sheep. Yeah, that guy.
That's not scary.
You're right. That sounds way scarier than
That sounds frightening, actually.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, yeah. Okay.
He's like, you want a fresh made coat? Step into my van. While sporting that fucking mustache too, right? Jesus. Anyways, yeah. What did I just say? Who's gonna win? Oh yeah, Islam by decision.
Both.
Islam, the odds, minus 370 to a plus 287 to defeat Christianity. Just kidding. I didn't want to make that joke, but I kind of had to. Yeah, he's a minus 370 to a plus 287 of Davi Ramos. So take that as you will.
Feels about right.
Yeah. Next up we got, sorry, the co-main event of the motherfucking morning, not the evening. Mm-hmm. Well, evening for the UAE folks. You got a rematch, which I forgot about was a rematch. Edson Jr. Barboza going up against Paul the Irish Dragon Felder.
Yeah, they fought forever ago. 2015, I want to say.
Yep. Since then, Edson Barboza unfortunately went to the fucking Shadow Realm, courtesy of a right hook from Justin Gaethje.
Good God, that fight was ridiculous.
Yeah, Justin Gaethje is a monster. He needs to fight Conor because I would like to see how Conor responds to that. That's just a fun style matchup, in my opinion.
For sure.
According to Conor, in his interview with Ariel that I definitely did not watch, and I literally chose not to watch it because it's too shilly for me.
Well, also, it's not like you miss any of it since every other outlet and every other show.
The only quote I heard is, Ariel, I was actually going to fight Justin Gaethje, but it didn't work out. It's like, sure. Yeah.
Wow. Hard to fight in the cage when you're fighting in the court system.
And
hashtag Irish Sports Star.
And punching older guys in the bar, sucker punching them. And shouts out to the chin on that guy.
Rape the guy.
Yeah, shouts out to the chin on that guy. Yeah. Anyways, Paul Felder, last time we saw him, he went to decision against James Vick just this past February. And then James Vick got murdered by Hooker, Dan Hooker. Yeah, sorry, I'm all over the place. Anyways, how do I think this is going to go? I think it's going to decision. I like Paul Felder. He's tough as shit. The dude's fought with a broken arm before. I think he beat Felder in their first fight, right?
Yep. Yeah, Barboza took
decision.
the first fight by decision.
I
have it
going the same way.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds were pretty close, but that third round, Felder ate a fuckload of body kicks. And
yeah, I have it going the same way. I like Felder. I think Felder's improved for sure. But I think Felder should also be able to knock James Vick the fuck out, considering how James Vick's finally moving up to welterweight after all these years. Yeah. Felder has good power, so I like Barboza in this one. But if Felder grinds out a win, I can see it.
Yeah.
He's just got to be relentless pressure on Barboza, because that's Barboza's biggest weakness is just that pressure against the cage.
What method you lean in?
I got a decision. These guys are too tough.
So, I I think I'm taking Felder, and here's the
Okay.
reason. Felder has so I did some tape study on this. Felder's been getting much better at checking kicks. He actually did pretty well at checking kicks in the fight against James Vick. He still ate a handful of them, hard leg kicks. And it's also hard to tell how much of being able to check a leg kick against James Vick is how slow and how telegraphed James Vick's leg kicks are because of how big he is and because just the size difference. And because Barbosa's obviously going to throw him fuckloads faster. But Felder has at least been more conscious in checking kicks. He also didn't do a terrible job of it in the first fight, although he definitely ate way too many leg kicks. I just wonder how much of Paul Felder... So you got to realize, Paul Felder and Belal Muhammad are fighting on the same card.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they're teammates at Rufus.
They are teammates, and Belal Muhammad has a very underrated clinch game. And Paul Felder actually also has a very good clinch game. And I think if Paul Felder just puts Edson Barbosa's back on the cage consistently throughout this fight, and even try, like, he doesn't even have to work in takedowns, just make Barbosa work against the cage, especially early, I could see Felder taking the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, if he gets that pressure, that's a very good point.
Because Felder's his clinch grappling is really underrated, and especially someone like Belal Muhammad, who is very good at using that pressure to then cause a reaction and get into the clinch. Which, if Felder is better at pressuring Edson backwards so that he's towards the clinch, and then when Edson does react, stepping in and grabbing the clinch, I think that could be a big factor in this. So I'm leaning Felder by decision. I'm not very confident in it. Barbosa also, with the move to ATT, has been looking better even when getting caught by Gaethje. I think that's a good move for him, and I think we're going to see big improvements out of Barbosa. I just wonder... I think a lot of this comes down to, is Paul Felder going to go out and try and throw spinning shit with Edson Barbosa again? Because he sure as fuck did that in the first fight, and that cost him a lot. So I'm leaning Felder by decision, but I am not confident by any means.
Yeah, but I still like that you're calling that, though, for sure. I can see it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun as fuck fight either way. It's hard. It's impossible for it not to be.
Anyways, let's go ahead and look at the odds.
Barbosa's definitely a favorite.
He's a minus 147 to a plus 122.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
Especially having won the first one.
Yeah, so this brings us to the main event of the evening. We have not the undisputed champion, but we have the current lightweight champion, Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov.
Thank you for clarifying, because I've heard like 4 people do that.
I know. He's not undisputed.
It's a fucking interim championship.
Yeah, it's a unification bout. So he's
going literally disputed.
So he's going up against the interim lightweight champion, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Holy fuck, what a ride it's been for Poirier. This guy, alongside the likes of Michael Bisping, is the epitome of just win and you can get where you need to be. Yep. Just fucking win, right? Khabib needs really no introduction. He's always going to be the perennial kind of just juggernaut of that division. The dude is a scary and violent motherfucker. Last time we saw him, he rear naked choked out Conor McGregor in the middle of the 4th round a year ago, October 6th. That was very exciting. Before that, he won the title against Al Iaquinta on short notice. He beat Barbosa. Yeah, he's made people look very, very human. That's kind of just his style, just very violent and dominant grappler. Dustin Poirier, however, is a very violent and dominant boxer and has an insane pocket presence and good defense. I remember we both kind of called it. I don't know if you went. I think I chose Dustin against Max. Like last minute.
I think I know.
Because I remember Max keeps his hands down. So, and yeah, look at Dustin's last couple wins. Max Holloway, holy shit. Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis. No contest against Alvarez. So this dude's just been climbing the fucking ranks. He deserves to be here. No matter what, according to Dana, even I don't believe his lies, according to Khabib, and I think Khabib will have this leverage. if he wins, especially. Tony Ferguson is next.
By the way, you definitely had Max Holloway by 5th round TKO.
Okay, then I stand corrected.
This
Thank
is
you.
why we notate these things.
No, thank you. So yeah, I mean, who do I have in this fight? I have Khabib, just mainly because I saw what Alvarez was able to do with his grappling. He kind of
This camp. And,
that's right.
And if Poirier has been working a lot of body work, I think number one, it's super smart against an AKA fighter in general, especially one that has been described, I believe, by Conor Rebush, Phil McKenzie, and Zane Simon, all individually as a mini DC or as a fast forward DC, and definitely Khabib is vulnerable to body. The other thing using body work against a guy like Khabib does is it gives you underhooks more easily. So a lot of times if Khabib's digging for a takedown, if you're throwing to the body versus the head, you're more likely to get the underhook than get stuck with the overhook. So I think that could be a factor as well. I really think this thing could be close. One thing John Morgan mentioned this week on the MMA Roadshow is that Khabib he skipped media day and he was looking a little off. Oh, I should have told you also. John Morgan said something similar about Edson Barbosa, that he looked a little slow at the open workouts and just kind of off.
Well, I think Khabib generally hasn't done open workouts in a while, and his credit, because he says he wants to focus
on the weight cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he even said that he's like, I just want to talk. Yeah. So I don't blame him. Yeah.
It'll be interesting though. I think I'm taking Dustin. I
like the pick. What do you think? It's got to be a knockout, right?
TKO 4th. I think it's
fourth,
same. Yeah, same as you. I just think it's going the other way. I think it's imperative that Dustin at least stuffs a takedown or two early, or is at least able to land something significant early, just to get Khabib to think about it. I do think Dustin's going to do better on the ground than people expect, because I imagine he's going to play more of a guard game and less trying to stand up with them, which could get interesting. I don't really know how that'll play out. But I think a lot of this fight is going to be Dustin throwing body shots and digging underhooks when Khabib gets close. Although even then, Khabib's very good at getting trips with overhooks. So I got him. Poirier hits too fucking hard and has too good a cardio at this point for me not to just think attrition TKO on Khabib, who definitely will take probably the 3rd or the 4th round off. And I think that's scary to do against a guy like Poirier, because that just gives him the go light of, oh, okay, now we're going to deep as fuck water.
The fights. Hopefully I can still hear you, Chris, if you...
Okay. Now that I have internet again, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I'm excited for this card. I'm actually almost I'm the most excited, obviously, for Khabib versus Poirier. I'm really excited for the two tournaments, the Invicta tournament and the Bellator featherweight tournament. I think they're going to be fun as hell, and I am very hyped for those. So we'll go ahead and wrap this here, but you guys can find us on Twitter, TSOVPod. You can let me know how fucking annoying it is that the internet keeps cutting out, and I promise I'll work on it. I'm on a hard line. I'm going to have to buy a new fucking router, I have a feeling, but...
Could be the modem, though, too.
It's 100% the router.
Okay.
I am positive, since I'm pretty sure we're running off whatever standard bullshit Cox gave us. So I'm going to have to buy a fucking router again. But anyway, you guys can follow us on Twitter, like I said. You guys can shoot us an email. Let us know what MMA podcast we should be checking out. JF757, I hope I'm not fucking up your name, gave us a bunch of good tips this week, and we appreciate it when people do. So you can always send us an email as well, sovpod@gmail.com. We always try and respond on those too. So I guess until next time, subscribe on YouTube or iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or wherever you guys listen to this. And I don't know. I guess go do something decadent. Also, definitely go avoid the heat, because it's like fucking 95 here in Santee and I'm dying. So go grab a good beer. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy all the fights. And until next week, everybody, go do something decadent. We out. Bye.
by the sound of violence.